Flame on. How are we doing tonight? Without further delay, let me bring my special guest, Nick Lenz. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good.
And let me bring forth my other co-host.
Let me try.
Okay.
Wonderbot.
You mother trucker.
Hey,
I'm gonna get you back. Trust me, Jay. You don't see it coming.
remember.
What's
up?
Somebody joined us. It's Movie Theater King Birdstorm 800. He says hi.
Oh, what's up, Movie Theater King? Welcome, guests on the channel. But
Hey, Movie Theater King. Nice to see you again after 5 hours on my stream.
I highly recommend Taladia's Arkham stream. Highly recommend it.
Yep.
But I wanted to talk about this week Overlord Season 3. Now, I know I've consistently been at the series, and I have been requested to do other anime, but I'll let you know what we're focusing on next after I wrap up this one. But, Nick, why don't you give us a quick rundown of Overlord Season 3, and then we'll go straight to our thoughts about it.
Overlord Season 3 aired back in 2018, same length as the first two seasons, 13 episodes. Adapted from books 7 through 9, but they adapted 7 and 9 differently. They had book 8 first, then book 7, then book 9. The first episode is basically just, let's see how the characters operate on their day off. Like, have it, we're focused on the guys, go on this little vacation, potentially go to resort, and have the girls, mostly just Albedo, Chaltier, and Mare, where they try to ride a horse, but Albedo can't ride the horse because she's not experienced as a succubus. I would basically say anything more, but Jay Heat, like, late night stuff. You know what I mean, Jay Heat, right? Yeah.
Indeed.
Yes. So they can't do it. So, like, it's a good episode, but that's like from the beginning of book 8. And then for some reason, they went straight to the ending of book 8 with this ending, where it's the standard for Japanese anime bathhouse scene, where you have the guys in their own bath, and you have the girls in their own bath, like they're chatting for a while. And then, like, the girls are attacked by someone named Lucifer. No, not from the superhero show, the TV show, just a different character. And, like, time for combat. And this is this scene was like cut in half for the book because Albedo thought, because the way her perspective was, she thought that the reason Ainz went with the guys because he had a thing for guys. He's like, no, I have a thing for girls. Like, he's straight. And she was very worried about that. And they cut this out from the anime for some strange reason. I do not know why. And then, like, the very next episode focuses on Karn Village, where this also involves, like, a bunch of, like, trolls attacking. And this also the episode where the pharmacist confesses feelings for his childhood friend in the episode, and she later accepts. And she also, I believe, she becomes chief of the village in this very episode, too. In episode 2. And they kind of, in a way, go through the book 8 pretty quickly before we move on to book 7, which is the workers' invasion arc, where they have it where Ainz and Nabe go to another country. This is the debut of I think it was, I'm trying to remember the name of the empire who appeared in this arc. Do you remember the name of it?
Balmod or I know it wasn't the Theocracy.
No, it was more like their emperor was a guy who looks like Lady Clementine, just a male version of him.
Yeah,
did you know?
I know who you're talking about. He plays a role in season 4. I just can't remember the kingdom off the top of my head.
Yeah, but did you notice that when you first saw him, like, is that Lady Clementine as a guy? He's like, there's probably some character design.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if that was on purpose or the fact Matt House just had the design left over from season 1 and just repurposed it for him, because it looks like her, except a guy. Like, same face, except he's not smiling as weirdly like she does. And it's a guy. He's kind of, in a way, the best way to describe him, he's kind of like a more relaxed version of Caligula. Except he's not doing this stiff Caligula was known for doing. Where he's like a toga, he's got knights working for him. Where Like we have where Momon and Nabe go to this country to hire mercenaries to supposedly invade a tomb for tomb raid, and turns out it's a tomb of Nasri. And they don't know it's tomb of Nasri because no one gets not publicly known at this point in time. So they go there and they split into various different teams. Now, one of the teams we focus on heavily is team focus. We have a guy, two girls. One of the girls, because it's mentioned by the narration that the current emperor got rid of all the corrupt nobles and just basically had it where everyone's nobility based upon hard work instead basically forthright stuff. And the girl basically has to screw her parents because they bought a lamp when they had no money. So she's like, when I come back, I'm taking my sisters and moving out. Because she want nothing to do with her parents all because of basically the fact that because they want to be like back in social standing, but the emperor didn't like them very much. So they have a tiny bit of political power left, but not much because the emperor stripped all of the way. So, and of course, the leader of the group is also sleeping with the elf who's in the group. Yeah, you sleep with her because basically, like you have to say, oh yeah, he's only eyes for her, and then later on we see, oh, they're in bed together. She's butt naked, implying the fact they actually slept together. But it's not really delved into very much at all because what happens in this arc. So we also have this guy looks like a dwarf, but he's not. He's just a short guy who puts on acting he's like a big rambunctious about like he actually doesn't like it very much. So like, oh, thank God I can relax. So they break into 7 entries when they arrive there. So they have the guy, his elf, and his team go through like what looks like the main entrance. We have another team go through like a separate tomb, which when they see the main symbol of the guild, like, oh, I've never seen that flag before. Maybe it gives good money. They're like that, and of course they're killed off screen by zombies. And the main team we focus on, they actually get as far as I think like they get about halfway. They get pretty much on the Colosseum, which I believe is the first time the Colosseum has been seen since episode 2. Oh, and the other team, one of them basically gets captured by this weird female creature who like Shaltair and Albel got thing for Ainz, and this character only appears one episode, just some intelligence gatherer, and he has weird to this guy. And moving on from that, because I don't want to talk any more about that, we do see a couple of the characters like, oh, we'll pay you money, and they get transported to the cockroach room, where apparently they get eaten off screen. As the main team themselves, well, one gets killed by Ainz, the other 2 get immobilized and sent to, I think, like experimentation, while the younger girl really wants to escape. And then Shaltair basically kills her. Though I should point out, though, the web novel version has her survive, and it is so weird of what exactly happened with her in the web novel that when I heard about this, I'm like, really? And kind of glad they include this either in the original novel or just in the anime, because yeah, I'm not going to go much into it. Just I don't know where, like, it's somewhere in the light novel, in the original web novel, where what's happened with her. Would you like to know? What y'all
Definitely.
Okay.
Because
apparently she wanted Shaltair to take her virginity.
thank God I am a small channel, because we would have gotten demonetized. Jesus
Yes,
Christ.
that's what the light novels. I read it. I'm like, oh my gosh, good thing this wasn't adapted. Like, what the heck is this? This is just so weird. And it's original web novel, so thank God that the writer basically cut that out, because even he probably realized, though, that was a bad idea to do. So she gets her voice taken, and she gets killed, but her voice is taken up by Tia Ballard's character, and becomes new default voice for her. And in case you wonder where Cerberus is in this arc, he actually gets sort of a thank you at the start of the arc for what happened the previous season. So he gets to go shopping, and of course, basically, like the girl he saved in the previous season, where she becomes like an official maid for for Noswick, and she's like working under him, but she also got feelings for him. He can't take it very well, but he's not rejecting her per se. Before we're going to happen next, let's see. I'm trying to think what else will happen there.
Granted, there is no relationship between the maid and the Sebas. I just want to confirm that now.
Yeah, she has
Yes,
things for
guys.
him.
Guys.
He probably sees her as like a friend. He does not see her that way, but I'm sure he probably doesn't mind being getting kissed by a beautiful woman. And of
Thank
course,
God I'm a small channel.
he surprisingly, he's only seen that first episode. He's never seen the rest of the season, and I don't think he's seen the rest of the series because he doesn't pop up again at all in season 4. That I remember.
Didn't he get that one cameo in season 4, episode 2?
Maybe, but he doesn't do much anything after that. It's like whatever he was doing got wrapped up with this opening episode. He's like got nothing to do for the rest of the series. He's not killed off. He just gave nothing to do because I think his character's done, maybe, but doesn't get killed off. So
he's loyal to Lord Ainz.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Nick. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, the Elizabeth did make a brief return in this arc, the workers' invasion arc. Basically, they're there to witness Hamsky's martial arts when he beats up some of the invaders, and that's it. We don't see him again to season 4 for this one episode, and then after the workers are all defeated, Ainz sends the elves over to the Empire, where send them on a freaking dragon, and it's like, can you tell me who the most important person plays? This is like, and of course, hi, I'm the Emperor. And it's like, okay, like because whatever the domestic situation, so so they want to settle it. So then, as a response for sending people to attack his place, they proceed to kill a lot of soldiers here. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Go,
Yeah.
keep it going. Keep it going. Don't worry.
Yeah. So they kill a lot of soldiers. Like I'd say about 1,000 here because they kill like a lot here in this one courtyard. So then we have them ride via carriage over there. One of the knights, they do point out though, like she's more about her own life than the actual emperor. So they just, while the carriage is in motion, she opens the door, climbs in, chats in for a bit, and then she climbs right back out. Like I have never seen this before in anime before, where someone does it, where they just climb into a moving carriage while it's in motion like this.
You do see something like this in action movies, but you don't see it in isekai anime.
But you don't, you don't see in anime, especially like stuff like Dragon Ball or My Hero Academia or Naruto or something like that. You don't see that stuff.
Because normally this stuff is dangerous, but since it's a carriage, it's fine. If it's a car, it's dangerous.
Right.
Because My Hero is sort of set in modern day. Dragon Ball kind of is, but they never really but they have different cars than My Hero does. Dragon Ball is sort of set in a very weird world where it's semi-futuristic and also involves dinosaurs.
The Dragon Ball Z game kind of explained some of that. There was a Beastman fad. They were able to clone dinosaurs. It was a whole Jurassic Park situation. And then by the time,
but they also have hover cars as well.
Hey, it's Dragon Ball. It's always something crazy in Dragon Ball.
Yep. So they arrive at the Noswick, which actually is the first night outside before this. The pharmacist created this new potion, so they're invited. Him, his girlfriend, and the sister are invited to. This happened in episode 2, where they're invited to Noswick to have dinner, but Ainz can't eat because, well, he's a skeleton. Of course, he doesn't say that. And of course, they have where Lister gets like a little tour of the place off screen and of course, like she's like really worried, like sorry. She's like, and she's like, Ainz like, it's fine. He has no problem with it. Of course, consider on the list of people to protect. So basically, for the werewolf that accepts the voices, it's like the pharmacist, the grandmother, the girlfriend, the sister, all on the list. Everyone else basically just like don't care about them.
And you don't really see.
Question for you.
Go ahead.
Then we have the entourage come in. And of course, he apologizes and offers a present as an apology. This, I believe, is standard for medieval stuff where they offer this type of gift. And inside the box is the head of the noble who's supposedly financial support of the damn thing. Now, this is standard procedure for an apology. Give the head of somebody to oppose the enemy. It's not really that much isekai, but this is something that's normally done in movies. As a matter of fact, I've seen this in Cleopatra, where it was the scene where Julius Caesar, who was played by Richard Harrison, you ever seen the movie? It's long, but it's really good. Where he's like, offer the head of his enemy who's fighting in Europe all this time, and he's like, okay, thank you. Find the rest of his body and send back to Rome, because he was not a fan of this at all. But at least something I've seen before, so I was familiar with that concept. It's a medieval tradition.
Definitely.
I got a question though.
Okay.
This is for like Overlord 3 compared to Overlord 2, because I'm still watching Overlord 2. My question is, how much of an action-packed is Overlord 3 compared to 2? And
the action doesn't happen until when they adapt Book 9.
Book 9, which is the last 5 episodes. So it's mostly world building, because they got to set this, because they're essentially piggybacking. They want to get to the action scenes, but a lot of lore and foundations in Book 7, so they kind of have to backtrack.
Well, there's been action during the invasion of Nosric happening.
Yeah, but it's just a brief expedition that's only like a couple of scenes. It's barely one episode.
Yeah.
I might as well just skip to episode 9 then.
Well,
not episode 9, is Book 9.
Well, Book 9, you know what I mean though, Jay.
Yeah.
I might as well skip to Book 9.
Yeah, but there's some action here, not much, very mild, but it's mostly a build up toward it. But strange enough, I should point out though, Carnvilla does not appear in season 4 for some reason, despite the fact being briefly has a scene in Book 10, but does not appear in season 4 for some reason. I do not understand why Madhouse did it for. Like, it's probably the first 3 seasons of the show, but it's not season 4 for some reason. I thought it was kind of weird. So he apologizes, and of course, basically you have Demiurge telling him to prostrate himself. But if you notice the scene itself, like, everybody moves but the Emperor. Now, it could be because he's got very strong will, but they don't really say at all. But it is quite interesting when they see that.
Or unless the Emperor's got unlimited power.
Possibly. Or it could be his crown he's wearing.
Wouldn't be the first time someone had a MacGuffin or artifact in an anime. Wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah. So they, of course, they throw out a solution of basically a peace treaty, alliance, and of course, basically, they also suggested to take Nosric public with becoming an actual country. And after they leave, they decided to name the country, which would be the Sorcerer Kingdom, despite the fact the light novels refer to as the Kingdom of Darkness for some strange reason. And
probably censorship. Wouldn't put it past them.
No, it's Yin Press. They're one translate. I thought it was kind of weird. And they're the ones who also give characters wrong names for some reason. Heck, Ainz in the original manga, in the manga adaptation of this, the wiki, and the anime all refer to him as the Sorcerer King. With some Kaikotis suggested he take that title. Because of all the suggestions for his title, Kaikotis had the best title for him. And the Sorcerer King makes total sense.
And Movie Theater King, to answer your question, I will be collabing, hopefully including Phoenix Press, Rise of the Shield Hero, and after we wrap up Overlord to celebrate season 4 coming out, and maybe some old retro anime such as Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, 3 Resident comes out next week.
And potentially me and Jay could cover Dragon Ball if you guys want me to do that. We could do that on. We could cover.
I've watched I've watched the entire franchise of Dragon Ball.
So that would be
interesting. The only thing I haven't really watched was Heroes because I kind of fell off.
I have watched Heroes, but I'm behind on it. Heroes interesting.
Heroes
but it has like this weird alternate reality where GT happened where you have like Goku and Vegeta still in Super Saiyan 4. But this team, they're like a team who will fights demons.
Basically, it's the Xenoverse games where they become time patrollers.
They become. Yeah, basically, Heroes is time patrollers, and like, sorry to take this over, by the way.
Go ahead.
But like, honestly, we'll cover Dragon Ball from the beginning to the end, a movie theater king. Like, we can promise you that, and maybe we can get Nick on for that as well, because I would love to hear his takes on Dragon Ball, honestly, because I would love to hear his opinions on that stuff.
I've been a long time fan of Dragon Ball Z. I've been a fan of it since like I first saw it back in the 90s.
For mainstream comics, the only main thing that attracts people is superheroes. Everything else is just barely known. Manga is literally something for everyone. Anyone who does basic research knows
There's
this.
not many superhero-based manga per se. The only ones I know of are My Hero, One Punch Man, and I think that's it.
Did Super Sentai get a manga? Because I know they've gotten promo material before in the past.
Maybe Super Sentai. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if
Super Sentai has had manga. I own the one the adapted for Go Ranger, and there's also one for Kamen Rider as well.
Okay, just wanted to confirm that. Now the difference between, and I said this multiple times, I'll probably say this till I'm blue in the face, but mainstream and anime/manga are completely different. Manga has so much variety, multiple genres, whereas mainstream or American comics try to condense everything into one. And when you try to please everyone, you please no one. And as of late, nice.
Wow. What manga is that?
That is for Go Ranger, the first Sentai that was very first Super Sentai ever, and by the way, same guy created both franchises. Well, he only did the first two for Super Sentai, but he did this one. Kamen Rider.
I love Mass Rider. I love.
Yeah, and this is the classic collection. Where in the case of like stuff for this one, it's like a lot of the Go Ranger manga. Like that's the thing with Super Sentai has a common with Power Rangers. They have comic adaptations. They like a lot of them do, but not all of them.
Now, Movie Theater King, Power Rangers is just Americanizing the Sentai footage. Sometimes they follow the source material, sometimes they deviate. It just depends on which season you end up.
I have watched Ultraman. I've watched Ultra Q and Ultraman. I haven't watched any more than that. But Ultraman's a good show. If you like Kamen Rider, you'll see the mentor for the original Kamen Rider appear on the show as a different character. Tish the Body, of course, is about several years before he did Kamen Rider, but the guy has been everywhere. That's where he got his start, was Ultraman, before he did Kamen Rider for several years.
Wow, that's something I did not know. So I'm learning something new today, J Heat.
You learn something new every day.
The guy who was the original host of Ultraman popped up in Kamen Rider Black as a mad scientist.
I do remember that season. I actually watched that when I was a kid.
I'm like halfway through. I'm about to go back to because I'm basically ready to go back to because I did the first season that was a part-timer, and I was going to go through about 5 stories of Doctor Who and then go back to it. Now I'm ready to go back to it now.
Now I feel like during the Jet X era, Kamen Rider got one adaptation, but I don't know which.
They had two series. It was Mass Rider.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was Black RX.
Okay.
And Dragonite. That's also adaptation of an actual Kamen Rider series. I don't remember which one it was, but those two, surprisingly, the only ones get adapted. There is no series which we have seen. You ever watch Beast Morphers?
I have.
With my cousin. Character Captain Shaku.
Yep, taken right out of the Sentai footage.
Yes, but here's the thing. That character, his original name is actually Space Sheriff Gavin. It was a character who first appeared back in 1982. And if you ever watched, I think it was Denzi Man and Battle Fever J, the guy who played the Blue Ranger in those two, he plays Gavin.
Oh, so he comes back to play Gavin. Oh, okay. So a lot of Super Sentai actors come back.
Yeah, they do that. V3, the actor plays V3. He was also in Super Sentai as well. He also played 2 Sentai Rangers. He played Big One, and he played the very first Blue Ranger in Sentai history. He of course popped up on kind of V3, of course V3, and he also did. There was another character he did around the same time. I had to look it up here because I actually have it here. Because apparently, I think his name is Zazu. I think his name is.
Now I don't know if the actor's still alive, but Big One, he's a very popular Sentai character.
Oh, his actor is still very much alive.
Okay.
Yeah, along with the guy who was the suit actor for Ultraman. He's still alive, and he's 80. I saw him at Fanboy Expo this month, and he doesn't look 80 at all.
All right.
Yeah, a lot of the actors who were on those shows back in the 60s, 70s, or some of them are still very much alive. Though surprisingly for Go Ranger, the Yellow Ranger is no longer alive, sadly. He committed suicide because he was typecasted and he could not stand the pressure of being a celebrity from that show. And he took his own life after the show wrapped up. He just couldn't take it anymore. That's what happened to him. He's one of a few who passed away. Not a lot of them have. There was also the mentor for Sun Vulcan. He actually passed away after the show was completed. Cancer. And then the Yellow Ranger became a criminal. Well, the actor, anyways. He couldn't take the guys that very well, so he turned to life of crime. And the guy's not in very good shape nowadays. Sometimes basically this happens. Some people who were in those series where celebrities get to them. Well, not in the case of the guy who played Super One. His character was amazing, but man, the real life actor, if I heard about the guy is a freaking scumbag. Stealing money from fans, including sexual favors. And the fact he also alleged that apparently the Yakuza guys got their hands on his Hensai belt, which was weird. It just... And the guy's been on a run since 2018. He has never been captured. The guy is wanted for a bunch of charges.
I could only imagine.
Yeah, but he's the only one of the Kamen Riders who actually is a criminal. The only one. I've never heard any other one who's a criminal. All of them lead pretty decent lives. As a matter of fact, the original Kamen Rider himself actually has a YouTube channel. But sadly put, it's very hard to get in English because it's all in Japanese. The one of two who's been on those franchises got on the YouTube channel. The other one is, and this was a surprise when I found about this, the guy that put the red Go-Onger, since that was out for RPM.
Yeah.
His and the counterpart as actors got a YouTube channel as well.
Really?
Yep. Those are the two I've heard of who have their own because none of the other ones do that I've heard of. From what I can tell from his video, it seems like he had his own co-stars in the show on his own channel as like guest stars. Go-Onger is a great show if you get a chance to watch it for Sentai because it's just a lot of fun, a really cool theme song. It's basically what if RPM was lighter? You know how RPM was like very serious? This one's very funny. But I heard one person
and that's one of the very appeals. Like you can take a premise and deviate from it and still create something good. Because the Sentai counterpart to RPM, it was very comedic. The Zords had voice lines. It was very comedic. RPM was dark.
Yeah, and they're both good. I consider both equally good. It's one of the very few times when I've seen both Power Rangers and the Sentai equivalent both equally good. The only one there's only two other ones that are like that. Time Ranger, Time Force. The other is Mega Ranger and In Space.
Straight adaptations. I think Lost Galaxy would be considered part of that list too, because that's a straight adaptation of Ginga Man.
Gingaman, yeah.
Yes, but they switch villains.
Mm.
There's another counterpart, the one who's Captain Mutiny. He is the main villain of the Sentai series, and oh boy, this guy basically. And by the way, Ginga Man is much more violent than Lost Galaxy.
I can imagine.
There's one scene where one of the Rangers gets stabbed with a freaking sword.
You mean like the sabers or a separate sword? Who brought up Super Sons?
Not me.
Tevia. It's probably Tevia because he loves Super Sons. I love it too, But
Not to that extent, though.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
But that's a separate conversation for a different day.
Yep.
But the last Ranger I'm going to mention is the Cole's actor. I heard he got into a dispute with a roommate and ended up doing some time.
Yes, he's currently out of jail. The other ones, oh, by the way, St. John has also been arrested as well last year.
He
For
was.
civil dispute or
Yeah, it was because he got involved with this firm that was I think was charged with fraud. But he is still allowed to go to conventions despite being charged with that. It was part of his I read on his pre-trial crime, and that's the reason why he couldn't appear in the 3rd anniversary that came out this year. Sadly, movie itself was really good. I love 3rd anniversary movie. I'd say it's probably the best one since the 10th one, because the Civil one I thought was pretty decent, though I think it should have been longer. The worst one, I do kind of agree with this opinion. The one was a little fun. The 20th anniversary, the one they did for 15. 15
okay,
was okay, but 20th was not that good because it was rushed.
Honestly, Megaforce in general was rushed, but no one's ready for that conversation.
Yeah, I've watched the counterparts for both those seasons.
Mm-hmm.
A lot better.
For me, Forever Red will always be the best team up. Always be the best team up. Nothing can beat that. It was all American footage, no Japanese footage. Everything was done on set, and you had all 10 Red Rangers there, right? Which was cool.
Except Rocky, but he had left the series by that point.
No.
Yeah, I was hearing something. Apparently, he moved and he did not give them his information of his new address. I did kind of talk to him about that when I met him this year, but he didn't go too deep into that part when I talked about it. And I did ask him about this because the Nostalgia Critic spoke fun of this scene from Turbo Rangers movie where, remember the scene where Rocky does a roundhouse kick and goes over the top rope and lands back first? Like,
yeah.
Was that legit? I asked him about that. He says, nope, that was not legit. That was made of the movie. He was perfectly fine. He never was injured in the movie.
And
he said he wanted to leave. He said he wanted to leave. That's what he told me. He just was, I think his contract was up. He just wanted to leave politely. So that was the way they wrote him out of the series.
Okay, because I did hear a rumor that they wanted to copy the success of Beetleborgs, and that's how Justin got in Turbo. At least that's what I had heard for the grapevine.
Yes, and I didn't want to talk about what series they got them, because that was not Turbo Ranger. It was not Car Ranger, which was used for Turbo. Nope. They took that from Die Ranger. The kid comes Ranger, gets bigger in size. They took that from Die Ranger. And I'm not going to discuss basically what his counterpart does, because he does it for a few episodes and it's dropped. Because the whole storyline is looking for his mother the whole series. And he does fight his mother. But I know we're going to have a topic here for Overlord, right?
Nothing wrong with a quick tangent. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, you gave us a good discussion, really, because we're all Power Rangers fans. So
yeah, I love Power Rangers too. I've met several of them. I've met, as a matter of fact, the last Comic Con I went to, which was Tampa Comic Con, was back in last week of July. I got a chance to meet the Red Second Ranger, which was, and I told him this. He was the first person who was from that series I've actually met. I haven't met anybody else who was actually on that one. He was the first one. He was actually quite surprised about that. Though for Maker Orlando, they did have the actors who played Maya from Lost Galaxy. I was busy getting all guys' voice actors. I didn't get a chance to meet her, sadly. So mostly most of the Rangers I met have been in Mighty Morphin shows. One was original to Zeo and Turbo, which of course was Nikita, the one who would replace Karen Ashley, who did Zeo. Yeah, I met her a couple times. Great person to meet, and just recently became a grandmother about 2 months ago, and she's only 48 years old.
Congratulations!
Yep.
Now I do remember
I met Karen. Karen Ashley, I met her 3 times. And third time I got a chance to sign my copy of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie. Do not ask me how much it cost me because it was a lot to get the comic because basically because she's a little bit more.
I still have the VHS. I've still got VHSs of Power Rangers somewhere.
Yes, Catherine Sun was there. She's absolutely a great person to me. And here's the thing: she looked like she hasn't aged since the '90s.
I believe it. I believe it.
Karen,
But
from what I can tell from her, it looked like she did put on a little bit of weight over the years. Not much,
just a little bit. Just a little bit.
because if you saw the third anniversary, we were like, "What happened to Karen? She looks so different. She got older.
It
Stuff like
happens.
that happens." But here was a strange thing. David Yost, he looked like he didn't age at all.
I'm surprised he came back after what the staff and showrunners did put him through up to zero.
Yeah,
I'm surprised
him and Walter Jones both of these. Now, Walter, I was gonna meet him at Tampa Comic Con, but picture like I don't know how much it was on the table, but his put up was expensive, like $70. So, and plus, I was trying to limit money I'm gonna spend that day, so I decided to get a chance to meet him. Like I said, I was gonna meet him that day.
Hey, it happens.
It happens, man. Honestly, like for me, it's like I went to a gaming convention, and let's just say I got to meet different people there, streamers, content creators, and all of that. But I was very fortunate and very lucky that I got to meet some of the developers at some of the biggest games. And let's put it like this: they charge an arm and a leg just to get backstage and stuff. I told them that, look, because I have a disability, what blah de blah de blah, and gave them proof of identity and told them, I showed them my channel. They put me on backstage. So
yeah,
Nice.
the voice actors I met, all of them are very nice people. Though for some reason, I was talking to Kyle Phillips about this, one of his streams, where like almost all the voice actors I've met, except for Sean Schimmel, Kyle, both Kyles, Kyle Herbert and Kyle Phillips, everyone else is shorter than me. Like everybody's shorter than me.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sean Schimmel is a little taller than me. Kyle, I think is about a couple inches taller than I am. Because we actually were talking about this in the stream. Because I, of course, right now I'm like 6 feet tall. So, like, because I've stood next to him and he does look taller than I am. Sean definitely is. The only other person who is like that, of course, is Kyle Herbert. Though he and I are both about the same height, just he's older than I am. But pretty much everybody else I met is shorter than me. Though I think Ty Abercorn is the same height as I am.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. But everyone else, shorter. Like really short.
So on that note, I've got to head out. I've got stuff to do before going to bed. So Jay Heat, sorry that I've got a dip. You know what time it is for me. It's nearly 2 o'clock in the morning here in the UK.
It's all good, man. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. And before you go,
Let me try.
okay.
Wonderbot, 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 Wonderbot.
I hate you.
I couldn't resist, buddy. Okay, now with that out of the way. Okay, now this season for me, make it a long story short.
If you can see, it's me and Stephanie Young.
Nice.
Yeah, as you can see, she's I think she's about the same height as I am. And I told her she looked fantastic. And
Definitely.
She said thank you. Though I missed my chance to tell Joe Harris that she's a very lovely woman. Though I did tell Liz Maxwell, she said thank you. That's nice. She is. Liz Maxwell, if you ever see pictures of her, like, man, she's a very lovely woman. 6
We got
foot.
another question. Oh, 6 foot.
Yep.
But
as a matter of fact, I'm taller than most people at my work.
I believe that. I believe that.
Yep. The last bit that for season 2 happened was the first ever major war. Well, aside from what we had in season 2, this is basically they helped out the Empire at Fayoff against the Rias's Kingdom, in this empire, this plains, where this is sadly put the very battle that saw death of the chief warrior.
Yep, Garrus, I believe his name is Gareth.
Yes.
Or
Yeah, Gareth. Great character. I just want to preserve his body, but I'll return later. Like, no, we'll just take him. Of course, this is the very famous scene where Ainz kills hundreds of soldiers to make these 3 weird gobs of stuff that's like sheep for some reason.
CGI monsters, and I'm like, they really put in the budget for this episode. Like, they went all in these last 3 episodes.
Because if you see CGI prior to this, it looks bad, really bad. But this one seems like they put money in this.
Now, here's my prediction. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the princess has a little yandere vibe going on. Is she actually interested in Climb, or is it more like a Omni-Man and Mark's mom situation from Invincible, where she sees him more like a pet?
Kind of like a pet, but she definitely wants to be the one to take be his first time.
Jesus. This is not. Don't show this manga story to your kids. It is dark.
Yeah.
This is not your child's first isekai.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the king does offer Climb his daughter's hand in marriage, and he politely turns it down. I'm like, dude, you're getting a hot woman to be your wife, and you turn it down?
I mean, isn't Climb like, what, 12, 13 at this point in the story?
No. I think he's a teenager. I think he's about 16 because he's, for some reason, Renair is taller than he is. Did you notice that?
Huh. Now you mention it, I'm just now noticing that.
Yeah, Renair. Oh, wow. Very beautiful woman.
Yep. Is it weird to imagine voice actors being tall due to perception and bias we get from their characters when looking at celebrities in real life? To an extent.
I mean, Monica Real, take a look at the character she voiced compared to the real live actress. I mean, like, here's the strange thing about her. The only character she's ever voiced I can think of that's about the same age she is Boma. Everyone else is younger than she is.
Which, fun fact, Boma is canonically 45 in Battle of Gods. They try to downplay it, but she's 45 if you do the math.
Yeah, I think Monica Real is currently about 46 right now.
Yeah, and Super is kind of a mess in of itself. I think they're like just before End of Z right now, so even then, Bulma's every bit 50 years old. So
not exactly End of Z per se, but it does take place during a 10-year time skip. The one they have before that tournament when they first had Pan show up. Though how it's weird when Pan shows up there, she's 3, but yet she's just born in during the show.
I think Superhero explains that to where there's like a 2-year gap long enough for Pan to start preschool.
Yeah, because she's actually talking by the movie. And I actually love the fact that they actually poke fun of the shoulder pads. I thought that was so funny. And the fact that you at least got to praise Gohan for this. He may not be interested in much training, but he is a very good father because they never threatened his daughter. And so he ended up damaging his own house. And his wife comes home, she just collapsed, like, "Oh my God, what happened to our house?"
Now I'm probably gonna get some heat for saying this, but I feel like Gohan and Naruto, and when you get to Boruto, are going for a very similar arc to where they're struggling with work-life balance, the responsibility, training, and being good examples for their kids. Gohan kind of has a safety net with Goku and Piccolo, but Naruto doesn't have that luxury.
But at least, well, I can tell anyways, Gohan is at least involved in his daughter's life compared to Naruto. He at least sees his dad. Gohan, yeah. Gohan is different in the fact he actually, he sees his daughter a lot. Naruto doesn't see her because he's busy at work.
They're both workaholics. One's a scholar. The other's essentially the leader of the village.
Yeah.
And this wouldn't be such a big issue if Naruto didn't have both half of Kurama and is arguably the strongest man alive. With chakra control training, he could make more of an effort.
Yeah. But at least basically he, prior to losing Kurama, he was definitely the strongest person in the village. Like, this is a guy who kept, like, apparently was mentioned. I heard that even though some of his attack has gone down, but his healing abilities have increased since he was a teenager.
Yeah, because in terms of battle,
because he
Go
can
ahead.
heal a lot quicker now.
Yeah, because I do remember from Gaiden or the Scarlet Spring novel that that he had slacked off since becoming Hokage. Slightly, but he had slacked off.
Yeah, they did show one episode of him training with some of his bodyguards.
Yeah. And the reason we're talking about this now is because this is going to be prep for next week, where we actually review Chapter 2 of Boruto's Time Skip. So we're just playing off each other, getting a little bit of banter.
Yeah, and I did a review of it, and I'm not going to spoil too much about it, but it's a good chapter. But we'll talk more about it when we talk about it next week.
All I'm gonna say is there's a reason the manga rushed to rebrand. There was a reason. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yes.
But back to Overlord, this season really changed the stakes. Like Gareth is killed off, Climb tries to come into his own. Sebas doesn't get as much to do. Sebas carried season 2, in my opinion, not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely feel like there was a change of pace going with the fall of the Rias Kingdom, the rise of the Sorcerer Kingdom, and some stage setting with season 4.
And they actually get a city. They get Riando, I believe it is. The city where Momon lives. They get that as a town. And they'll mention this to the Rias Kingdom, but they also get Karn Village as well. Because Karn Village doesn't care about anybody outside their village, because they were attacked frequently by humans, and yet it takes non-humans to save them.
True. But to be fair, there was a Cold War between the Theocracy, the Rias Kingdom, and I believe a third party, and then Karn Village was like stuck in the middle of it. I think the Theocracy were raiding Karn Village in an attempt to frame the Rias Kingdom, something like that.
Yep. Yeah, and of course they march into town, and there's a kid who tries to attack Ainz. Alberta really wants to kill the kid with her scythe, but Momon steps in and he becomes sort of an enforcer for Ainz. Now, this is later revealed in the next season. This actually is Pandora's actor, who is actually disguised as Momon in this scene, because Ainz is Momon, but they're both in the same scene, but it's just Pandora's actor posing it, but they don't say it here, but it's Pandora's actor.
Okay, I thought that was a season 4 scene, but all right.
Yeah, they actually they have that at the end of the final episode, where they just roll in the town, and of course it is mentioned in the book. I think they mildly reference in the anime that the palace, that the building that Ainz occupies in season 4, that was actually the mayor's mansion previously.
Now I do remember an aristocrat. This could have been season 2. But there was a female aristocrat who kind of gets roped in the forces of Nazarick, and she kind of bickers with Albedo a lot in season 4, if I remember correctly.
Yes, I think her name is Helmina. She also, she was mentioned, gotten thinner since season 2 because of the cockroach stuff, and she can't eat solid food.
So did they kill and revive her with the cockroaches, or did they just traumatize her?
They traumatized her, so she can't eat solid food. They don't go much into it in season 4 per se, but they show her house, which I think is the same house they show from season 2. But like, she's implied to be a wealthy middle class woman, but she's not a noble. But it is quite strange that they air the season the same year as season 2.
Yeah, because these seasons came out back to back, like 9 months apart from each other. 6 to 9 months.
Let me take a look here.
I know they were developed. They were developed around the same time, but their release schedules was like a 6 to 9 month gap, if I remember correctly. It could have been a year.
Let's see. Season 2 aired from January to April 2018. 3 aired July to October 2018.
So they just picked
like 3 months later.
3 months. Jesus, I thought it was longer than that.
Yeah, 3 months. And then we have next season aired, like, just by sheer coincidence, exactly 4 years after the third season started. But it's almost 4 years. 4 years later, because it starts in July, ends in September.
Well, 4 years later, where would you rank the seasons currently, even with what little we've referenced in season 4?
Definitely season 3 was a lot of fun.
Okay.
Oh, there's one thing we forgot to mention. It happens in episode 4. The Giant of the East and Demon Snake of the West.
Oh yeah, I remember that episode.
Yeah, this is the episode where there's a slight change. This one where Heimski tells about these two creatures. So Ainz and Mare decide to write on Hamsky. So she's of course Ainz knows like, oh, she looks very thin. She eating enough, and he just smacks her sides, and she blushed like, Ainz, Lord Ainz, everything okay? Now in the book, he actually tapped her lower back.
Wait, what now?
In the book, he tapped her back, her lower back.
Thank God I'm such a small channel. Jesus Christ.
That's what happened in the book, okay?
Again, this is not your child's first isekai. Avoid this story at all costs if you're under 18.
Yeah, but it's like tap because he thought Mara looked pretty thin, and he asked her, "Are you eating enough?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm eating perfectly fine."
Wait, aren't the twins canonically like 75, 80, something like that?
Yes, but apparently 75 is very young for a dark elf.
That does not help my situation at all. Jesus Christ.
At least they look like dark elves, unlike in Skeleton World, where the dark elves have pink skin.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
You ever see that series?
I have. I know what you're talking about.
It's a good series, despite it's similar to that opening, but where it opens up the same way the Goblin Slayer did. But at least Skeleton in the World didn't receive controversy, or at least they put a warning sign ahead of the episode.
They did.
Which got handed because they probably knew that, okay, we're going to put the scene here, but wait, if Gary's controversy, we'll put a warning sign there. Goblin Slayer did not do that at all.
Oh, no, they did not know. Again, I actually read the Goblin Slayer manga. Like, they do not know. If they actually keep that scene, it's going to be ugly on social media.
Yeah, but in the case of what if at least they put I think for this episode 1, I think if one episode would put like a warning sign ahead of it, just to know that the scene is basically just kind of like an adult scene. Be careful. And then they kind of have this scene, and of course they have this thing end with like about doing, and the guy's like, why did it get dark or something? Because that's when the skeleton shows up and kills him.
Huh.
Though they cut this from the anime, the girl was traumatized because of this. And apparently her maid had to share the same bed with her. Not like,
I get it.
Yeah. Just to keep her safe, because her maid was the only person to keep her safe anyways. So like she got similar thing happened to her, but not as bad as the girl. I was surprised they cut that from the anime, but the anime was pretty faithful to the first 8 books. I'm surprised they haven't done a season 2 yet. And there are 10 books.
And there was like this cosplay manga that was getting a lot of traction. Then all of a sudden the manga gets canceled halfway through, and I'm just like, yeah, this isn't getting a season 2.
Yeah, but Skeleton in the World should get season 2 because it's good. Got good characters. It keeps interested. All 13 episodes. They do, despite the fact they do cut one thing, they are pretty faithful to the original material pretty well for their one season they have.
I just don't remember what the controversy was about. All of a sudden, the successful manga just got canceled out of the blue. Like, you have a cosplay setting. Like, it couldn't have been that bad.
What was the Skeleton or a different series?
No, I'm talking about the one about the doll maker and the cosplayer.
Oh, you mean Dress Me Up, Darling?
Yeah, my other cousin was telling me about it.
I haven't heard anything about it. I haven't seen the anime yet, so
I just know that the manga was canceled. That's all I know. But back to our main topic. Again, Overlord Season 3, it covers 7, 8, and 9. You built. I think we get like a subtleties of Albedo working against Ainz or trying to protect him from other isekai players. But I feel like that doesn't really play in the role till at least like volume 10, volume 12.
If 10 is basically when they bring in the dwarves.
Okay. I just know that at some point Albedo betrays Ainz, albeit indirectly, in an attempt to protect him. or something.
Yeah,
along those.
that's not shown in the anime.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's see, I was so happy they included this when they did season 4. We'll talk about it when we talk about season 4. We'll talk about off air.
Okay.
But it's a scene I really enjoyed in the book, and I'm glad they included. We'll talk about it off screen.
Okay, fair enough. Avoid spoilers.
Yep. Season 3 is a good season. I think that they did a really good job, though. I think book 8 got a bit of shat because they basically cut some stuff out and they tapped a bit of order with this one. But 7 and 9 they did a really good job with adaptation wise.
I agree.
I
now
think it was on about 3 episodes.
Yeah,
episodes. It was like really short. Let me look up see what the name of that. Let's see if I can find it here. I'm gonna find the name of the country.
and while we're waiting on that, this is like something I just want to add to the section called free discussion. And so if anyone wants to hop in, just let me know in the chat, and I can send you a link, and then you can chill with us on panel for a few minutes.
Yeah. Okay. The work group, the one who had the elf, they're called Foresight.
Okay.
Okay. Name of the country is the Bahara Kingdom.
The Bahara Kingdom. Okay.
Yes. The Emperor Jirnov.
Still say his design was repurposed from Clementine, but
yes, and he's actually in the start of season 4. Though when we get to season 4, also they skipped 2 books because they mentioned a kingdom that they haven't shown the anime yet because they're saving that for a movie that has not come out yet.
Yeah, like at this point, either run the movie or don't, in my opinion.
Because they announced it was season 4, and then like they announced this movie and nothing. Like there's no release date for it or anything. It just nothing.
Now there were some delays due to COVID. You have to give them that. There were some delays due to COVID.
I did hear something. Season 4 was actually announced at Comic-Con in Germany, not long after season 3 was concluded, and then nothing. And then all of a sudden, I heard this about a couple years ago. They announced season 4, the 2 movies, and they have season 4 coming all on time. And then it's going to come on the summer, possibly before the season comes out. Nope. Summer possibly this year. Nope. So Madhouse, when these movies are coming out, people would love to know this. I would. I mean, these movies are adapting 2 books, like an entire movie. Like, I think it would work to adapt a movie from an actual book. I mean, Konosuba did that.
Multiple times.
Konosuba did for its first movie they released was after season 2 wrapped up. The movie they had, which focused on the Crimson Demon Village, that's off book 5. Now, book 5. Now, the Konosuba books, if you get a chance to read them, they're really short. They're just about 250 to about 270 pages a piece.
And this is Konosuba, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, you can breeze.
Overlord varies. Usually it's about 300 to about 400 pages a piece.
Yeah, because even I'll be the first to tell you the light novel, you can breeze through Konosuba in a couple of months if you really took the time.
The 17 volumes of it.
Yeah, all 17 volumes, you can breeze through that in a couple of months. It's a relatively short story.
Yep, and I've heard that the 3rd season's come out, I think it's next year.
Oh, that was weird.
That was notification from my phone. That's not the only one that's coming next year. We also see the return of Blue X is coming next year. Black Butler. The second core for Mashuga Tensei, the current season air right now, the one that's having its final episode that just aired. Second core comes in April next year. So we got several sequels coming next year.
Definitely. I hope all of them are good. I hope we have a great anime season this year. But I just have a few questions for you before we wrap up. Please correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm almost positive, and I'm almost confident this article is fake. But I read something that says Peter Parker Spider-Man is turned into the Green Goblin, or at least, and how. Please tell me, and Dan Slott is getting some heat for it, and I'm just like, this can't be real.
Dan Slott didn't write this. This was Zeb Wells. And he isn't turned the Green Goblin. He's got the Green Goblin's evil. That was expunged from him during the Expenses run. Somehow, I think it was, I don't think what was her name. It was some character popped up and it seemed like he was going to get back to Norman, but Spidey took it instead. And now he's evil. And he's going after Kraven the Hunter. So Slott is completely blameless for this, though. The only thing you can't believe recently is the Spider-Boy stuff.
I needed a minute. I need a minute.
Yeah, and then we have next thing happening around this story arc: Spider's first hunt, gang war.
Okay, so we go from Nick Spencer's run. Everything's fine and dandy. We retcon one more day. Then he leaves for
retcon one more day. They retcon Sins Past.
Sins Past, thank you.
They retcon that and another retcon. The retcon that Harry came back because of Mysterio faked his death. Nope, that was a complete lie. Harry is still dead. So the one Harry had been seeing since 07, clone. The whole time.
Okay.
And he dies. Yeah, they reckon that was a clone.
Okay, so Harry's now going. Nick Spencer leaves for Substack. Marvel editorial's pissed off about it.
So they do Beyond after his run wraps. So they do Beyond, which it's funny. It's a bit controversial at times. And then we have Zeb Wells stuff, where that first issue, I'm sure he told me this. He got some mild death threats to the opening issue, and it's a slow start. I do like the Hobgoblin stuff he did, but it was weird. We had 2 Hobgoblins, and they controlled by the Red Goblin Queen's thing, who was Ashley Kafka.
Like, I get what Zeb Wells is trying to do. He's making the best out of a bad situation, but this is
but the one thing that the theory, Paul, that brand new character they brought in, the one who has been alleged to based upon a real life political activist, don't know which one. He is there because Marv was ticked off. He let Nick Spencer for Substack, and he's basically there to tick people off. That's what he's there for. And the story they did just before this one, before they did the issue 31, which was at $10, it's like it was the issues where the colorist is at the editor and the colorist could not do the jobs prop because we had it where on basically on the same page, you have Peter, MJ, and Paul. Their clothes change colors about 4 or 5 times on the same page.
Now, retcons can happen to an extent, especially when a writer is going for a corner or they've been writing for a long time.
Retcons can be good, but sometimes it just the problem lately with retcons is they use way too much.
It becomes a crutch, basically. Mm-hmm. But I'll be the first to attest to that.
Because it's like a way, because we don't like what this rare did, so it gets popular people. Let's retcon that be stupid. That's kind of the method we get nowadays. Up the 2 companies, big 2, I'd say Marvel uses a little more than DC does, the retcon card. DC used to use it probably a little bit more, but not lately.
They've definitely, unless you're counting Death Metal and the 5G setup, DC hardly ever uses retcons at all.
Yeah, and like if you want to think of one guy who is like a big name for them, Jeff Johns, like he is one guy I point out to people. There has been no controversies, like nothing really proven anyways, controversies surrounding Jeff Johns. No. Bendis, he does get flagged for some stuff, but he doesn't get criticism.
No, because now with Jeff Johns, he does have a blatant OC character bias, but that's because Stargirl's a tribute character to honor his late sister. So that bias is kind of warranted. Mm-hmm. But other than that, that's literally the only nitpick you get from Jeff Johns outside of comics.
You want another writer who's, as far as I can tell, no controversy surrounding him, but he's really good. He's only had one work I wasn't really a big fan of, but everything else is really good. Al Ewing.
Al Ewing is a pretty solid writer as well.
Ever anything he wrote where it's been bad?
No.
The only thing I wasn't really a fan of was Rocket. The book where Rocket.
That was it.
Yeah, that's it. Everything else has been good by him. Donnie Coates, he's been pretty decent. I understand people are not big fans of his work, but one at least I got praise for him. I actually mentioned him on Twitter. At least he actually recognizes continuity.
Okay, movie theater king. That's a very common misconception. DC has only actively retconned or changed the status quo 3 separate times: Crisis on Infinite Earths, 0 Hour, and Flashpoint.
Infinite Crisis, they have retcons that one too.
Well, that's okay. I'll give you that.
Yes, that one. I would say it's on a similar scale as 0 Hour, but not as widespreading as Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Definitely, they were more like to tweak certain inconsistencies.
Yeah, Final Crisis did not establish any retcons at all, aside from the fact that they apparently killed Batman, but not really. But that was about Grant Morrison, so he was going to be back anyways because, of course, he's alive by the end of the book, and everyone else think he's still dead. But in the case of Flashpoint, like everything got basically like new universe. This some acknowledge some stuff happened, not everything. The most recent Batman they acknowledged happened was Cataclysm.
Yeah,
acknowledged it happened. That's one of a few crossovers they established canon for Batman. Nightfall, No Man's Land. Trying to think. I think they do acknowledge Under Red Hood. They acknowledge that one as canon.
Yeah,
but they decided to retcon how he came back to life. Red Hood.
Let's be honest, because Superboy Prime throwing a tantrum and breaking reality, that's a little too goofy even by comic standards.
And having Jason crawl of his own grave.
Yeah, because even that he's buried 6 feet, bound to inside a coffin, and so unless he literally and even if he got out of the coffin, he literally had to dig 6 feet. Oh, by the way, movie theater king, it's DC multiverse. Anything with the Omniverse and Death Metal, that was all 5G setup, and a lot of it just imploded before it could go anywhere. So you ain't got to worry.
I've heard Jeff Johns is not a fan of the Omniverse stuff.
Yeah, because it's just DC YOU all over again. The only difference is, and I hate to sound like a know-it-all when I say this, but DC YOU was kind of like a transition period while they were moving offices. This was just like, okay, we're trying to do our version of all different Marvel. We got nothing else going on. Dan DiDio stepped down, so what the hell are we gonna do?
There were 2 different conflicting reports what happened with him. What reason why he left DC? One said he resigned. The other said he was fired.
And considering how much heat the old regime was getting at the time, I would not be surprised if either was the case.
From what I've heard from people who spoke about him after he left DC, nothing but positive stuff. The subject, his ideas may not be basically very good or somewhat. People spoke highly of the fact the guy had eye for talent. Like he spoke of how Jimmy Palmiotti was hired by him at DC, though. Jimmy has actually asked Jimmy about like why he's in related for DC because DC ghosted him. Marvel don't know why they haven't contacted or anything new, but it's strange DC ghosted him, especially since DC gave him a lot of especially since a lot of the work they did for DC was very popular with fans.
I'll give you that. I agree.
The 5G stuff, the only thing we kind of got for that was Future State, but that led to very little. Some stuff was established because of Future State, but it either was ignored or just basically did quickly and just went away. The biggest thing that was established with Future State was the Magistrate.
And Titans Academy.
And Superman going to War World, which that did happen. That was a really good story arc.
Oh, that is canon. That is one of the few that actually carried over and stuck. So War World Saga is pretty solid.
Philly Kevin Johnson told me that the whole idea for that was because DC liked how Lost God turned out. So they were asked, can you do this for Superman? He's like, sure. And that's how we got the War World Saga for him.
Now, PKJ did confirm that by the time he came into the picture, the shelf titles such as Son of Kal-El were already in the works, already greenlit, ready to go. So there was nothing any of his contributions would have done to skew that aspect.
Yeah, from the one I've read about this book, the Son of Kal-El, the only thing I wasn't really a big fan of the book was him out of this gay.
And I just want to disclose now, whatever, as long as you're a consenting adult, do what you want to do. We're not, no one's, by all means. But when you explicitly and brazenly try to rush issue 5 out on National Coming Out Day, don't you think that's a little facetious?
Yes, and the fact that when they outed him, it's like him and Jay, the guy who was his boyfriend. It's basically done like a romance scene of a guy and a girl. It's done the same exact way you see in comics, but then with a guy instead of a girl. Did you notice that?
There was like no, I just didn't see a whole lot of setup here. No chemistry, no setup, just a few banters of dialogue. And he put some noise canceling headphones on him to tune out his super hearing. And then he just makes a pass at him. Like that's literally the only setup we get over the course of 5 issues.
Yeah, and Jay is actually in the opening issue of the sequel book, Adventure Superman, John Kent. He's there just for 2 pages, and he's gone. Never seen him. I know I think that John is back in Action Comics.
Yes, John is back in Action Comics. I think Jay ended up becoming Steel and Natasha's assistant with Supercorp.
Steel Corps,
thank you. He ended up becoming
that book. I've described it as Damage Control without the comedy.
Pretty much.
Except you have Steel criticizing superheroes for causing cloud damage.
Which is an objective of any first responder or superheroes, as it were. It happens all the time.
But the thing is, he's a superhero, and he's saying this about superheroes.
Like, you're just as responsible. I get it. You're not A tier or B tier, but you're just as responsible. You even had a run in the 90s where a civilian was killed for snitching. So yes. I get where you're coming from, but don't pretend you have the moral high ground here, dude.
I believe this was the second ongoing series he's ever had, because he had the Steelbook in the 90s.
He did, and there was another Steelbook, but I believe Natasha led that one. But there was a third Steelbook. It was a mini-series, but I think Natasha led it.
Okay. Technically, the Steelbook out in the 90s, that was the second Steelbook.
Okay.
The first one was featured Commander Steel, and was written by Jerry Conway. And if you saw Legends of Tomorrow, we saw that Steel pop in the show.
We did.
Yep, that character, which he later showed up in his run, Jerry Conway's run for Justice League, and the guy was a complete jerk to his grandson. So his grandson proceeded to beat the crap out of him, and he was kicked out of the factory they had their base operations because of it. I'm not sure why Jerry Conway wrote, like, where you read the initial Steel book, decent guy, and then by the 80s, he's basically a complete jerk to people. Just because he's older and he's the original Steel.
I guess because of the rampant edginess of the time. I could not tell you, man.
And he made his debut in the late 70s.
Because, again, this was, for all intents and purposes, not even a Bronze Age character. Commander Steel debuted in the Bronze Age. So this isn't that big. So this is a huge leap going from one characterization to the next.
Yeah, and they established that he was they made him part of All-Star Squadron in the 80s, which Roy Thomas wrote that book, which really good. Check it out. It's really good. And I kind of wish DC do more trades to that one, because there's only been one trade to collect that book. A showcase book.
Pretty much.
That's it. Not even the single series Young All-Stars. That's not a trade either.
Nope, you got to actually track down the individual issues or find a third party or something.
Yeah, Infinity Incorporated, which spun out from that does have trades.
It does.
Just two. And I think there's one for the second volume, which is a completely unrelated team to the original one, but that's it. But there was a Steel one-shot release as part of when they brought back Doomsday prior to Flashpoint, which I think that was written by Dan Jurgens. It was just a one-shot. And next time Steel had a book was this very book, though he was supporting character in the Superman book, which I like that book.
Wait, you said Superman and Wonder Woman or Superman?
No, Superwoman. The one featuring Lana Lang.
Oh, Lana Lang on Rebirth. Okay, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, that was a really good book. I can understand why people fell off the book, because Phil Jimenez wrote and drew the book for like the first half of that book, and then he left.
Well, you have a different creative team. You already had Superman Reborn, where you just merged the two Supermen together. You still had the backlash from New 52 fans who were kind of jaded and being disassociated to restore the old status quo. Then you have Super Wonder shippers who were also mad. Lana just kind of fell off the ether
Yeah, and now Lana's in Steelworks.
as Steel's supporting interest, as Steel's love interest. But whether she
I
still has
believe they mentioned they actually got married.
engaged, I believe.
Yes. Now, Lana was engaged to Pete Ross pre-Flashpoint, and then they got divorced. Here in the current continuity, Pete Ross has not been seen at all. I've never seen Pete Ross in this current continuity.
I think Pete Ross was referenced in the Young Justice show, if I remember correctly.
I mean, like in the New 52 continuity.
Okay.
I don't think he showed up at all. And he was Superman's best friend in high school. You would think he'd appear as a recurring character, but nope.
I mean, you already got Lana Lang, Jimmy Olsen, Lois Lane. You already got so many in Bruce's inner circle.
Yeah, and
Clark's-
currently for Superman, Perry is not in charge of the Daily Planet anymore.
No,
He had to step down because he had a stroke. So
and that was
he
that's the
decided
one
to
thing.
premiere.
That's the one thing I can't forgive about Bendis. You removed
Technically,
Clark,
that wasn't him. Bendis
editorial.
No, that was a Phil Gaiman Johnson. Where because in the story in issue 1050, they did this thing where they had to undo the whole thing of Superman's identity in public knowledge.
Okay.
So they established in the book they have Lex Luthor kidnap Manchester Black and use his powers to wipe everybody's memory of John Kent being the other Superman, and of course Clark Kent being Superman. And here's people who retain the memory. Anybody who's on the farm because of their shield, the Justice League, the Titans, and the Reservists because of all the mental shield stuff, March Manhunter. And that's it.
So Perry tried to deduce who Clark was, had an aneurysm, and was forced to step down while he was recovering.
Yeah, and now he's running for mayor, and Lois Lane is the editor-in-chief now. Yeah,
And I think
Clark, like the way they drew him in the recent issue is like it is so obvious. Like artists, are you like, why the heck are you just pointing the fact that Clark looks so freaking huge in his artwork? It just looks so weird. Did you see that recent issue that came out?
Yeah, I noticed that.
Like he's like so beefy, he can barely fit through the door.
I believe it.
Yeah, in Superman by Josh Williamson. I think it was in Superman that happened. In Superman, he's in charge of LexCorp, which are into Supercorps, and Lex is in. Well, he was in jail. Now he's in the hospital. And I don't mind this direction they do for Superman, where he's in charge of LexCorp. I think that's a really neat idea. That's something completely original. Like, here's the thing: over the years, Lex has this thing where a company cannot support Superman in any form, but yet Lana, when she tried to support Superman, she got fired from her job, and when she was CEO of LexCorp.
Yeah, she was forced to step down for that. I think Talia took over LexCorp for a while.
Yeah, where they gave her an alias for some reason. Now Talia still around.
I think she's working with the government now because of her diplomatic deal, or at least her Raish's diplomatic deal with the DEO.
Yeah, and at one point Raish was dead. Now he's alive.
Oh yeah, because of Lazarus Planet. God damn it! I didn't read that tie-in.
I did. I'm like, okay, so Joshua Williamson killed him off.
Yep.
He killed him off in Star of Shadow War.
Star of Shadow War. It was Brion, and it's evidently obvious. Like, it's unnatural. The escape route was completely unnatural. It was a cavern made out of nowhere. Like, you know who this is, but it's such a deep cut. Newer audience, the main demographic is not going to recognize it right away. But if you watch the
person revealed behind all the whole Star of Shadow War make total sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Geoforce.
Yeah.
Which, here's something strange though. The last appeared part of this comic, he appeared in Katana's miniseries.
Yeah, with Outsiders, I believe.
No, it was the Suicide Squad Most Wanted miniseries. The Katana feature, that was his first appearance. And that was the only appearance for a long time. And he pops up here in this costume. Like, when he gets costume, when he gets powers, and how long has been Geoforce?
Because if you're going off back in late 80s, early 90s with Batman the Outsider, the original Batman the Outsiders, Geoforce has been active for roughly 20, 25 years. Real world time. In universe, he's probably been active about 10.
Yeah, and I've read those original comics that Mike Burr and Jim Harrow did. They are awesome, amazing comics. And DC collected. They had this new printing of Batman: The Outsiders, where they collected like the entire series on that name, but they didn't collect the issues that come afterwards. Avengers: The Outsiders, which was a continuation of the book for about 5 issues, become a reprint book. But there was 4 volumes of that. There was just The Outsiders Volume 1, Volume 2, which published in the 90s. Volume 1 was 28 issues. Volume 2 was 24. 24 involved this weird thing where, like, vampires took over Markovia and Luca became a vampire. That was weird, but it was 90s.
And they also tried to tie it back to Leviathan, like trying to frame and get revenge on Deathstroke for the manipulation. And I'm just saying this as cleanly as possible. Manipulation of Terra, that I understand. But how does this tie back to the Al Ghuls?
Maybe because Deathstroke gets associated, because he's been associated with the Al Ghuls over the years.
Deathstroke takes contracts from just about everyone who can afford him. So that,
like, unless Deathstroke is one thing, and then he dies.
Yes.
And then he comes back at the end of the book.
Yes, to set up
and he dies again at Dark Crisis.
Well, he loses his healing factor. They kind of pull Captain America to where he loses his healing factor and he's in agonizing pain.
Yeah, but from what I last heard, he's still dead as of Dark Crisis number 7.
Oh, he flatlined. Oh, I thought he was just being tortured.
Yeah, but as far as I know, he hasn't shown up since then. That was Dark Crisis. I think the last issue came out was a year ago.
I mean, they're trying to do some next gen stuff with Titans being the new Vanguard, but if Dawn, I'm just gonna say it, if Dawn of DC Titans doesn't sell, they're gonna bring the Justice League back. If not by the end of this year, then early next year.
They're bringing it back.
But
I asked Jay in the Monius about that, and he says, "Oh, they're gonna come back. Don't worry about that."
And as for Jay
in the Monius, no denying the guy is one really good writer. I have never encountered anything bad by him, per se.
Not that I've seen.
The most weirdest character I know he's ever created was Vermin.
That is a very weird character, not gonna lie.
Yeah, he created him first appearing in Age of Captain America. I tried to ask him what was the basis for creation of this character. He didn't understand what I was asking about.
I think he just repressed it himself. I think he was just trying to meet a deadline. He just made something up.
Yeah, and then
he doesn't even remember.
He starts filming for Captain America and comes filming for Spider-Man. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it is kind of weird. Not gonna lie, that is kind of weird. But there's another huge storyline making the rounds, and that is Batman, Catwoman, Gotham War.
It's interesting, and where Red Hood is instead of Catwoman. Be right back.
Okay. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, basically, it's a Bruce. Okay, well, after all these multiple storylines, Batman's in a coma. He collapses. He goes under for 8 weeks, which they say he's taking a nap, but I'm calling it a coma. And it gets to a point where when he wakes up, Selina pretty much takes all the goons in Gotham and creates a guild of thieves. And I get what they're trying to do. I've seen this story a million times, and I'm like, not even the Bat family wants anything to do with it, because this is just a lover spat that's making both parties look bad, and just about everyone and everything in the city's caught in the middle. Like, we literally had this exact same story by Grant Morrison with Bruce and Talia, and that made more sense because that's a custody battle amped up on a superhuman scale, whereas this is just a petty lover spat. At least that's what I'm interpreting from Gotham War. Now, again, I haven't read the whole story. That's just my interpretation. And now I'm just waiting for Nick to get back. And while we are waiting, I have officially put the link in the chat. So if anyone wants to hop in, here's the link. And let's see if we can go a few more minutes.
Back.
I was just explaining about the premise of Batman, Catwoman, Gotham War, and how
I've been reading it.
It kind of reminds me. Hold on. What's up, Movie Theater King?
Alola. How was everyone?
All right. Before we move forward, have you read Batman and Catwoman, Gotham War? And if you have, what do you think of it so far?
I have not. I have actively tried to avoid Batman because I want to try and see the other superheroes. I know Batman is the face of DC, and if you want to, you should at least try to catch up with Batman. But I would prefer to give the other heroes a shot. So right now, after my studies, I want to try to go over some Green Lantern stuff with either Hal Jordan or Jon Stewart, one of those two.
Mm-hmm.
I heard
That's
about the latest Wonder Woman thing with Tom King, trying
Yeah,
to make
with
Amazon's Attack 2.0.
not necessarily. From what I can tell, anyways, it's not exactly Amazon's Attack. It's more like a minor retread of Robin War.
Minor retread, but there is an event coming out called Amazon's Attack! Exclamation point.
Yeah, this Pacific we had one. 09, it was bad.
I feel like editorial forced this on him. I really do. Now, granted, Tom King is a very mixed writer. I will be the first to admit that. But I feel like the editorial, he's kind of being forced by editorial on this one. I really do.
Yeah, I read the first issue. That was quite interesting. And the one thing they'll mention is like in the book of how in the world did the Amazons become outlawed?
They're trying to tie it back to Lazarus Planet, where the wrath of Hera and the revenge of the gods, and how they're trying to stigmatize the Amazons by proxy becoming that. But when did Amazons have time to leave man's world, and why would they go straight to America instead of traversing the rest of the world? Like, you have other options.
That made no freaking sense.
Like,
Especially says, here's the strange thing. Wonder Woman and maybe like 2 or 3 others have ever left Themyscira over the years, not the whole freaking country.
and even then, I'm probably going to get some heat for this, but I'll say it. This reminds me of an old DCAU Justice League episode where men were being poisoned all across the world, even the Justice League members. And this all culminated in a man-hater being manipulated by Cersei, wielding power she had no business having. It's literally a retread of that episode.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a 2-part, if I remember.
Yeah, I think next week is when we get the relaunch for Flash by Cy Spurrier.
Do you think they would actually try and make that the villain? Ooh, I'm the Joker version of the Man-Hater. Ooh, ha, ha.
Cersei, as far as I can tell, here's the one thing about Cersei in the current continuity. She's somewhat of a good guy, and she's a friend of Diana's.
Chaotically neutral. She definitely gives me Rick Sanchez vibes.
Yeah, but she's neutral, but she's not like a full-blown enemy of Wonder Woman, which is interesting. And the fact that she made her debut in Justice League Dark.
She did. Justice League Dark Rebirth. She was a constant villain in that run.
Yes, and one thing I thought was kind of weird about this book, like you read the book and like the magic community hates Wonder Woman because she's public and they like to be secretive. And she's trying to help them. She
kind of has to because she's an ambassador of peace. That's a completely different context.
Yeah, but they don't want anything to do with her, but yet she's trying to help because her powers are based in magic.
So you're kind of stuck with her by proxy, whether you like her or not.
Yeah, and the weird thing is, John Constantine's in the book, the whole book, but he's not a member of the team.
Yeah, because Constantine and Zatanna were having a lover spat. It was a whole thing.
Yeah, and the lineup was interesting. Even Neil Adams, when I was talking about it before he passed away, he was more interested in seeing not Man-Bat as part of the team. That's his character. He was more shocked to see that Detective Chimp was part of the team.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but Detective Chimp in a mystical setting, I mean,
here's the strange thing. And do you know who created Detective Chimp?
Who?
Karma Infantino, who also created the Reverse Flash.
I see the parallels.
Yes. I'm sure he knew Karma Infantino when he was alive. I just talked about Karma Infantino. But you look at what he created, like, wow, he created a lot of good characters. Mostly Karma Infantino was known for doing Flash a lot of the time.
Obviously, with Reverse Flash, he literally wrote Reverse Flash killing Iris West pre-Flashpoint. Well, she gets brought back, but that's a separate conversation.
Yeah.
But back to Gotham War, it just feels like a story we've already been told. On one hand, it feels like a more condensed version of what Bruce and Talia went through in Batman Inc. But in a metatextual sense, didn't Marvel do something relatively similar with Black Cat a few years ago?
Yes. Except that she was a crime boss, but she was a crime boss longer than Catwoman was. At least for Catwoman, it was positive received. Not in the case of Black Cat. Because Slot basically had it where, she became a crime boss because Superior Spider punched one of her teeth out of her mouth.
That's not a reason to
That's the reason explained in the book why she became a crime boss.
Just because Peter got his body snatched and y'all had a lover spat, Dan Slott being Dan Slott, I'm not even gonna.
Yeah, and the fact that Peter pointed out to her, that was Dr. Octopus, not me. He has explained that constantly throughout that first year, like, that was Dr. Octopus, not me. He took my buddy for a drive for a year.
Pretty much. Now, I'll admit, Superior Spider-Man was badass, but again, that was not Peter.
That was all Dr. Octopus, and they're bringing back that book again.
Marvel's just desperate at this point, but
yeah, and of course they had some books where, like, because according to rumor I've heard, the reason some books not, and the reason why they're doing these miniseries where they're making the old school writers to fill in gaps in the run is because the current books aren't selling too well. Examples: Wolverine Patch, the Peter David Hulk books, and Spider-Man. I'm trying to think. I think that's it I can think of.
Maybe if you paid a bit more for quality writers, then you would get better quality comics.
I've heard someone said also that the old squares should come back to write the current books.
Nothing wrong with the old guard, but you always run the gamble of whether they've peaked or fallen off in old age.
As far as I can tell, I can't think of. If you look at Marvel, for example, can't think of any writer who's actually a big name, who's still there, and working on a book right now.
Other than Bendis, but like I said, he's fallen off since Ultimate.
Bendis is gone. He's not Marvel anymore. He's over at Dark Horse.
Okay, Bendis is Dark Horse.
Is at Marvel. The only one I can think of who's still there, who's been there for a while, is Al Ewing. Kelly. Actually, I thought Kelly Thompson was still there. I don't think she's there anymore. I think she's over DC and Birds of Prey. Zeb Wells is still there, but of course
Vita Ayala. No, Vita Ayala is not a household name. No.
But Al Ewing definitely is. Donnie Coates. Did you ever hear of the reason why he stopped doing Thor and Hulk?
I heard there was some shakeup with editorial, but I didn't know all the details.
Nope, that was not the reason why. He got into a car accident.
Oh, yeah.
And did you notice? If you notice the books, right after you stop writing them, you know Marvel does this thing where brand new writer, brand number one.
Yep.
Not in the case of Thor and Hulk. That did not happen. They kept numbering going.
Yeah, he was still credited for that run. I think he ended up in a almost year-long coma.
Yeah, and here's the strange thing, though. Can you name what was the last known comic? Paul Marvel actually did this, where they changed writers, but they did not restart numbering. You know, the last book that was
what book?
Star Wars.
I don't really pay attention to the Disney Star Wars, in all honesty.
Yeah, that book went through 3 writers.
Whoa, Tevia, can you hear us?
At first it was Jason Aaron, and then Karen Gillian, and then Greg Pak, and they relaunched Charles Shaw in the book.
I'm looking more into Star Wars and just liking some of the lore. I also like that how Ahsoka could be like the new version of the light side. And I've heard that Ezra Miller could be the new force of the dark side, but I don't know.
I'm not sure how.
Unless they're gonna make him Disney Star Killer.
Bullshit! That's not gonna happen.
Whoa, PG, buddy.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's Tibia for you. Hey, Tibia.
Hello. Nick.
What an entrance, ladies and gentlemen. Oh,
It's because of Ahsoka's little how she basically absorbed part of the daughter so she could live. So and then there's
No, that's not what happened.
That's Clone Wars. That's Clone Wars.
That's Clone Wars.
Yes.
What happened with the father gave the daughter life force to Ahsoka.
Oh,
I think.
I'm good. Sorry, I had
It's
headphones
complicated.
on. I had headphones on. Just
I think like the last no more comic you don't Star Wars, where they changed the writer, but they were starting numbering that I can think of. I think it was Fantastic Four when Fraction wrote it, because he left, and he was credited as a ghostwriter throughout the rest of the run. but they
Well,
never said the book is
speaking
accurate.
of comic, mommy, today I did a bit on secret article on Dan Schwartz entire run. God, that book just went on the upload.
They had a good start, but it just fiddled out after a while.
Yeah. They
Pretty
believe
much.
that it's secure spine legacy. My response to the article was that's bullshit. That one went to shit after Clone Conspiracy. No, scrap it. It went to shit after Spirit Spider-Man. That thing went downhill.
I get they wanted to get back. They editorial now it's a business. You're trying to make money at the end of the day, but editorial really needs to stop being so goddamn petty. Like for real.
Example, Spidey.
Now I'm not gonna put all that on Zeb Wells because he's just a guy.
I'm going to be that guy's fault.
I'm not gonna. Zeb Wells just making the best out of a bad situation. I'm not gonna fault him for that.
Yep.
Yeah, especially as he has written better stuff than this.
Oh, he has. I mean, I've seen some of his work, and I'm like, it's like night and day.
I
book
can
he
tell
worked-
you,
I
that was a
really
good book.
enjoyed. He didn't work on all the issues of it. Savage Wolverine.
Seven.
I think he worked on. I think it was the opening writer for Avenging Spider-Man.
He did Avenging Spider-Man for a few issues, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Yep.
As
He also a brand new day crap, which is not good.
a matter of fact, Tivia, you know that character they revealed who was the guy who was responsible for that mysterious shady guy we saw at the end of the
Yeah,
previous one?
Robin. I did remember review it when the issue came out, and I was not happy.
Yeah,
What?
I
This
looked up
guy?
too. He's from
One at a
Brightest
time,
Day.
gentlemen.
Okay.
He's from Brand New Day. He's MJ's stalker.
What?
One big-
Wait,
one big
wait. What? That mathematician jerk is her stalker?
Yes.
So how does he become that to a mathematician as a god jerk?
Yeah, Zeb Wells created this
Not
character.
my opinion.
It's just as bad as when they brought back Digger with no explanation.
Oh yeah.
At least Digger, I remember who he is.
Yeah, I didn't know who the guy was.
I,
He was from
I,
the
I
Game Boy.
completely forgot who the other guy was. I had to look him up.
Yeah, I know that he was I'm confused. And the Megaton word was trapped with this Paul jerk. Why? The kids are gone. We don't need him. Go away. Can we just get rid of this jerk and shove in the page and put him in the space and put him in the sun? I feel that'd be funny. I'll be laughing.
One, the banner is appropriate in a situation like this, and two, okay, I feel like Paul and let's say Jay Nakamura, for example, because I am planning a video on him, but Jay Nakamura is someone who's really the true star of the story, but you're using another character to prop up the book and book itself. Whereas with Paul, he's just a self-insert for the editorial staff's disdain for what happened with Nick Spencer leaving. Like Paul exists literally to piss off fans.
I'm not sure exactly why Nick Spencer even left for Substack.
Yeah,
The industry was giving them peanuts, not giving them royalties when they're trying to do streaming and getting adaptations. Even the guy who wrote Infinity Gauntlet and Infinity War, he did not get royalties for those movies. He only got a couple $1,000s originally. And he had to fight to get a decent royalty for Infinity War.
Yeah, Jim Starlin.
Jim Starlin,
From what I heard in the article, he got paid more for the KG Beast character than Thanos.
CBS. Which is
I don't think KG Beast.
pretty much. Because Dan J. Craig might be a good John. I know he did Warrior.
Even the character was a KG Beast, just in name only. He has the same name, but he doesn't have the costume.
No, he doesn't.
But he got paid more for that than characters.
In Marvel.
I agree.
Yeah, it just makes no sense.
That's stupid. I don't think I'm trying to get my rant on. Well, technically, not rant. It was more of a critique on that CB article of Deadshot 1. Yeah, this one and Deadshot are both bad for our league. Shot ran for too long. That thing ran for 10 years. That thing should have after Space Man. But Zeb's one is 10 times worse. How is that even possible? I don't get it. Like, good news. There's good news though. We are getting Open Spider-Man.
I'm just glad the Krakoa era is over because everything from House of X and Krakoa, all that lasted like what 3 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I wish
did you read
Hickman was
the
still
first
acting
issue of
on X-Men.
Uncanny
That was
Spider-Man?
his baby.
What,
He quit.
Nick?
Sorry.
Did you guys read the first issue of Uncanny Spider-Man?
I did.
No. Well, actually, I read it. I'm confused.
I believe Cy Spur wrote that book.
Yeah, it did not give me confidence going into Flash.
Yeah.
And you're already in your.
It is interesting, and you have Nightcrawler as Spider-Man in this
Yep.
book. And they don't give an explanation why he's Spider-Man, despite that you already have two Spider-Man.
Wait, if we already.
I know
Wait,
question, oh, he's got a tail.
Is this 616 Nightcrawler? Is it an alternate
It's
universe?
typically Nightcrawler. It's the main Nightcrawler, like Iceman, who died, but then came out to life with his boy toy with Inhuman stuff. I'm not joking. Iceman book that did happen.
Yeah, and
what?
astonishing Iceman. He's still gay, and he's got a new boyfriend.
Yeah, but he's Inhuman been bomb at the light. Wow, that makes no sense. And also, the guy cheating on his boy, like, what? You on the roof of Iceman who cheated on his boy? Wait, what? What the
He
hell?
was dating Emma Frost when they broke up.
I thought
Well,
that was horrible, but this is
Well,
worse.
Well, it can't be worse than being strung along in your partner's revenge scheme.
True, John got screwed on more than Iceman.
Yeah.
Iceman, at least he's actually happy.
One thing I thought was interesting is that they brought back the Unity Squad.
Yeah.
I was surprised they brought him back, and like their lineup was interesting. Like they had people who weren't part of the original group, like Rogue and Cap part of the group again, which they're part of the original group. Fine.
Yep.
But they added Kornan, who is basically the current Psylocke. They added her. Deadpool's back in the roster again. And here's something: the book is about Gary Duggan again.
Nice.
Look, I read his run. I really enjoyed his run. I didn't have a problem with Jim Zeb's one to come afterwards. Stars and Garters. That was story. That's from I think it was 25 and 30.
That dealt with the Red Skull, right?
No, that was from Rick Remender.
Oh.
Now, I'm concerned by Cy Sprutter because Jeremy Adams effectively redeemed Wally West from all the Heroes in Crisis and the editorial stuff.
But at least Jeremy Adams is not going away from DC because he's doing I
Well,
believe he's doing John Stewart's book.
Yeah, he's
no, that's PKJ. Philip K. John is writing the John Stewart book. Jeremy Adams writing the Jay Garrick book. And the Hal Jordan book.
Yeah, but the Jay Garrick book is focused on Jay Garrick's daughter that no
got
one
time
knew he had before.
Got time displaced, and that led to Star Wars: The Lost Children,
which is a great book.
I thought it was good. I thought it
The
was
strange thing about Judy Garrick, the one who's Jay Garrick's daughter.
Yep.
Prior to recently, this character never existed before because it was mentioned that Jay and Joan could not have they just didn't have kids for some unknown reason, and yet they have a daughter here.
Yep.
Who's got the same power as their father.
Yep.
And one thing I don't like about the Infinite Frontier DC stuff, what they did with the JSC characters, is what they did with Alan Scott.
Oh yeah, that.
Wait, Alan Scott. Wait, I thought it was just Earth 2 and Alan Scott.
No. They actually have it. The one shot that came out after the Death Metal. Well, actually, no, at the future state.
It was Infinite Zero. They outed him as gay.
Yep.
I mean, I get how that can be annoying to some, but and, hey, there is such a thing as people coming out later in life.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, why Alan Scott make him gay? It makes no sense. Despite like he has kids.
Because New 52 did it with Earth 2 Saga, and if you're gonna do a stint like that, Alan Scott was the easiest character to do it, the least path of resistance. You couldn't do it with Jay Garrick because he has Joan. You couldn't do it with Power Girl because, let's be honest,
people would freak out.
One person would freak out would be Jerry Conway. He created Power Girl.
Oh, he would have been pissed.
I would be honest.
And I think DC knows not to take off Jerry Conway because Jerry Conway practically created about 50% of the popular characters we have nowadays.
At least Bronze post-Crisis onward.
I mean,
Yep.
I can make a huge list of characters created. Firestorm, 5, Gypsy, Steel, both the first, second one, third one that Jeff Johns created. That was all Jeff Johns. Let's see.
Yeah, the
Vixen.
interview said that, quote,
Trying to think
Women
what else.
Found book.
There's a long list of he created Count Vertigo.
Now, according to this article, he has brought up his concerns on taking over from Jeremy Adams' run, so he's at least aware.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Which he said, and I
Critical
quote,
thinking
I
describes
do
him
want
as
to
a
read
guy
this
who
for a
wrote
sec.
forgettable stories.
Oh.
Which, that's bullcrap.
Yeah, guys, I can't do it, but I do want to read it for a sec. It's
Go ahead.
Okay. How if you're picking out the damage one? I know there was concern among fans about, a new writer comes aboard and maybe flip the table and everything that's gone before. Yeah, I'm with you there on that one. Yep. That wasn't my plan at all. I'm taking a detour towards some quite unexpected genre territory. But hopefully doing it in a way that doesn't alienate everybody. It's about gently easing our way into some different vibes. Okay. But doing it with great respect and tenderness. I can't read that. No.
Tenderness, family
the-
picture that you've taken up.
Yeah. To the family picture that we have taken up. Okay. Winnetou struggling with having with her. When she was pregnant with Wade, she developed super speed. Yep, and that was fun. I love that story. Yep. And during that time, she they put CC twice. That's competing. Screw it. She went from being an incredible, talented journalist and mother to being somebody who was also writing a novel and saving the world, and participating in all these kind of events. Then came along the baby, and they probably left it because they belonged to the baby like than to her. When that happened,
I want to go ahead and interject something right quick. Marvel did something similar with Spider-Woman, and I just want to go ahead and acknowledge this now. The main difference with that is that you could argue that Linda was in the first trimester or the first couple of months. Spider-Woman already had a belly growing in, and she was still in the field.
And they didn't bother to explain who the father was. It's like she mentioned
who the father was.
yeah, it's like it was there, and yeah, I see you return movie theater. It's like it was there, and like she didn't know, and no investigating who the father is, because apparently during the 8-month time skip, she slept with several guys, and she had no idea who the father is.
That confused the hell out of me. What? That excuse when she get pregnant?
That's the
I feel like the writer had a specific story they wanted to tell and didn't think it that far through before planning it out.
Yeah, and then we have the that when that run ended, I was surprised it ended. When they relaunched it after Secret Wars, 17 issues, I was surprised to see it go.
Same.
And then for some strange reason, they brought the book back. I was surprised they brought the book back. It was really good on the new writer. Didn't hate it. It felt like though it was a continuation of that previous book because Porcupine's still there as Spider-Woman's boyfriend. Gary's there, her son. Really good book. And then her and Porcupine break up because she was talking about superhero stuff. They broke up.
Yep.
And then they brought in her best friend who's not been seen since the 90s in the book. And then the book ended after here's the thing. It got a tie in Devil's Reign. And then like the very next issue, actually next 2 issues, it's done.
So it all for nothing. Great.
Situations like that, the writer is still contracted, so they let them work on other stuff or give flex time. That way they can fulfill their legal obligation before leaving.
As far as I can tell when it comes to her, I haven't seen anything since the book wrapped up.
Yeah, and I feel like Megan Fitzmartin's going to be in a similar situation. We'll let you finish your contract, but after that, you're done.
But the one who wrote Spider-Woman, that was a good book. I loved it. It wasn't terrible. I didn't hear anything negative about that book. Did you, Tivia?
Huh? Yeah, Spider-Woman. I did not read Spider-Woman 32. I
The,
kind of
not
stopped
not
for a
the new
long
one's
time
come out
ago.
soon. Not that one. They bring it back, different writer. I think it's
The relaunch. The relaunch.
yeah. It's
Oh
a
yeah,
new
that we
series.
watching the book since she's trying to find a
I'm
baby.
talking about the previous book, the one that was launched. I think it was in 2020. It lasted 21 issues. It was actually about a woman. Let me look up basically who wrote the book because it was the most recent book they released for the character. Let's see.
Yep. What other article says?
I think it's
Yeah, it is.
7. I think it is.
Movie
Nope.
theater. While we're looking this
No.
up, movie theater king.
Actually, here it is.
What-
Yes, it's 5/7. Yeah, her
Oh.
name is the writer who wrote it is Carla Paccio.
Call up Achia.
It's a
I've
woman.
seen some of her work. I've seen some of her work.
Okay, the book she wrote aside from the Spider-Man book, she wrote okay, she has done some stuff. Oh, she wrote a couple issues. It just Spider-Verse, one issue from the second volume, one issue, third volume. The most recent thing she did was the Spider-Gwen annual.
Nice.
You know, the one
And
for
this-
the Contents of Chaos. She wrote that. That was
I
just-
don't. I dropped that kind of thing. I just don't give it out of that event because it's unnecessary.
it's part of the annual stuff. It's handful.
Oh yeah, don't. I don't remember.
Okay, here's the first thing she
boring.
wrote.
One at a
It
time.
was,
Nick, go ahead.
The first book she wrote, that's credited she wrote, was a story in the Gwenpool Holiday Special Merry Mix Up. She wrote the let's see if I can find it here. She wrote the third story, War and Pantsgiving. Get it? War and Pantsgiving.
Uh-huh. I get it.
It's a story with Punisher in it. And she
Mhm.
wrote Punisher. And wrote a story for Strange New World, wrote a Punisher annual. It was the Acts of Evil stuff, where she had it where Punisher took on the Brood. Oh, that sounds interesting. One issue of Fearless. One issue of a one shot for the 29 stuff they did. When they brought it back under Nick Spencer. She was Fantastic Four one shot from this Ultimate 29 universe. And then she did the Spider-Man book. She also wrote a story for Carnage, Black, White, and Blood. The second annual for Spider-Man. This was for Volume 4, was part of the Infinite stuff, Infinite Destinies. Deadpool, Black, White, and Blood. Marvel Voices Community. And that's it. She's wrote technically like one ongoing series. Just one. And a bunch of one-shots.
Interesting.
But she's a good writer. I'm surprised they didn't put anything else, though.
I'm surprised too.
Yeah.
Anyway,
she
what
was-
was the article? Oh yeah, wait.
like,
Yeah. Trying to do it, but
the first book was only released 2016.
Interesting.
So only been on the company now for about 7 years. Hasn't done a lot, but none of the books she came up with were bad. I kind of wish they would give her something more, but nope, not really. Oh, someone named Kadi Takeoff.
Kid
You know
take off. That's my brother's handle.
Okay, he says, "What's up, Amelia?"
Hey,
Yeah,
anyway,
he's my
what? Oh yeah, it is. Yeah,
My
trying to
brother's
do
not
it,
really
but
into this stuff at all.
appreciate it, bro.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so who's screen sharing now?
No, I'm just screen sharing. I'm trying to finish this article.
Okay, bet.
Yeah, we're on the window part.
Before we move forward,
let's
Movie
see,
Theater King,
yeah.
you've been awfully quiet. What do you think so far?
When that. Wait, shall I finish the sentence or?
Movie Theater King, can you hear us?
Oh, sorry, I was a bit busy with something. Something got cut off, and I had to take pressing matters. I haven't.
Of course. Any concerns or interest in Dawn of DC Flash before we move forward? Or if you've read the Jeremy Adams run?
Maybe later.
Fair enough. All right, Tevia, please continue.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we all know someone's having to do it with they said a quote. When they had it was quite a joyous moment because they got a new baby. But wait a minute. When that happened, it was quite a joyous moment because they got a new baby. Yep. Wait. Yep. But we are picking things up a couple of months later. What? I think
is no great surprise that for somebody who had a taste of that world where you can do incredible things, be at home in time to fix dinner for the kids, went from all of that to regular life is going to be difficult to adjust to. Wait, what? Wait. No, that makes no sense. When she walked at Johnny, when she met Wade and Johnny, she's happy.
Tevye, I think I can break this down. This is, I think, what these trying. What now? Granted, I haven't seen the finished product. I haven't read the issue, but I feel like in this interview, what Sai is trying to say is that over the course of her pregnancy in the Jeremy Adams run, Linda did get powers by proxy. So now she's going from having powers to being relatively normal and coping from that on top of dealing with a new baby. He definitely could have worded this better, but I feel like that's what he's trying to say.
Okay. All these different characters, but with generally showing that you can at one and the same time be a part of a different dynamic. But you just change the angle slightly. You realize that each of the characters has their own thing that is inexplicable. I can't read that. Inexplicable.
Explicable
Yeah.
and a bit spooky.
Very spooky. Thank you. And we're going to follow them all at the path, take them in different directions. Or force them to crack together. Please don't add drama. Please don't do this. Don't add drama.
You kind of need a little drama, otherwise it just becomes a power fantasy. It's a necessary evil with comics.
Fair enough. They also talk about the Speed Force stuff. Started quite silver if you're in comic, and then take to prevent the horror. Okay, here's the thing that went with the horror stuff, because we tried horror in DG before with the whole Night Terror stuff.
Vertigo would dispute with you on that.
Miserably. So the Department of Horror again scared me. But we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. It's gonna be good.
Night Terrors was a very lackluster story. I will give you that. But we have seen stories where with DC characters where horror can work. Swamp Thing, Darkness Saga, Hellblazer.
Yep. Sandman.
Any horror books on DC that come to mind?
Phantom Stranger.
Yep. Phantom Stranger, The Spectre.
John Constantine.
Hellblazer. Yep.
I mentioned that before.
All his books. Satana. Even though it's her magical book, but I consider it part of that same genre.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, you got
Captain
kind of
Marvel.
Dark in there.
One at a time.
Sorry.
Nick, please continue.
Justice League Dark.
Okay.
One book, it's still part of it, but it's not a horror book. Especially since Peter Mulligan, he did the first line for Justice League Dark, he brought in his character, Changing Man. His version. The original version was created by Steve Ditko. Here's the weird thing about this version. He created his own solo book, Can't Comic Cavalcade. It was a recurring character in Suicide Squad by John S. Winter. And that was it. Never seen it again.
Now, I am doing a separate video for Dawn of DC as a whole, but I feel like Night Terrors really killed the momentum for a lot.
Agreed.
It's weird though for this event, and we're like for 2 months, all of the ongoing series that were part of it all went hiatus. The only ongoing series I saw did not go on hiatus was Batman Superman World's Finest. Did you notice that?
Well, that and Ben and John Kent had no hiatus.
Yeah,
Well, that was
bad.
Adventures of John Kent was a maxi series that was going to get wrapped up regardless.
Yeah, if it's a mini series, it's not a good part of it. But anything, but I think the only book that was not connected, but it was. I don't think they've been on hiatus I could think of was World's Finest Teen Titans.
Yep.
Wait, no, World's Finest Teen Titans got a tie-in, but issue 3 came out recently.
I think it was.
Did it get a tie-in? I don't remember it didn't get a tie-in.
Yeah. One book I'm actually quite surprised how good it is, especially since Timmy and I know was worried about the book, especially since Tom Taylor was doing what he was doing with Nightwing when he did Titans.
Yep.
The current book has been surprisingly good.
I mean, there's some characterization errors I might nitpick, but other than that, Tom Taylor's Teen Titans is decent.
And isn't it weird though that they moved Titans Tower from New York to Bloodhaven?
That is weird.
Hey,
I
And I
was
think that the tower they use, I think that's from the Dan Abnett run, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
pretty sure because I know, and even then, they're actually more heroes are becoming more prominent in New York. Jace Fox's Batman, time displaced Helena from Justice Society. She's operating in New York.
Yeah, there's two Helenas walking around now because Helena Bartelli, the regular Huntress, but people know and love for years, she's been a recurring character in Detective Comics. She's occasionally had a backup feature here and there, but mostly she's been a character in that book specifically. But she's not appeared in any other book I could think of. Though I did notice this when I was reading when I did my review for the Secretary of the Quick Zips with Executions run for Batman. They referenced the whole thing of Tim Drake being bi when they brought in Tim and his boyfriend.
I hate
Now-
Bernard.
I will give them this, at least through the Urban Legends comics, Tim got a little bit of setup, and it wasn't just a publicity stunt. But I'm not saying it was good setup.
And obsessed, I don't want to tell why even day one like the John Kent situation much worse.
No,
That's what I'm saying. Both about the Marines.
say what you will about the Tim Drake Robin comic by Megan Fitzmartin, but this could have been a relatively easy fix. Have Tim and Steph have a conversation. Maybe reference Damian going off grid if you had to. Have Stephanie throw an ultimatum in Tim's face, call him out for actually being in the wrong for wanting to be Robin again and relive his glory days. And then Tim pretty much ends the relationship out of spite, if not out of ultimatum in turn. Allow Stephanie to actually be pissed and process the emotional fallout. I get it. That was taken away from the anthology series, but a tie-in or a one-shot easily could have covered what I said. We go straight from there, and I'm like, okay, the payoff might not be good, but at least I had a decent context.
Instead, we got nothing.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
Yep.
because
And
it
up
was
to it
randomly-
back. All is horrible. The story
One at a
is
time. Nick,
They randomly broke up off screen, and like there is a rumor I had heard the reason why the Batgirls book ended because they mentioned Tim and Stephanie broke up. That's the
Wait,
reason they ended the book because they dare bring it up. So they axed the book with 19 issues. I enjoyed Batgirls. I thought it was a really good book.
I mean, it was leftover baggage from the magistrate, but it was a pretty decent read. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I was surprised it lasted for 19 issues and had an annual.
Same. I thought it was going to be a mini series when I originally saw the announcement. I'm like, okay, Stephanie and Cass are getting something to do.
And now they don't. I think Barbara is over Nightwing, and I think that Cassie and Stephanie are. I think they're just recurring characters in Batman right now.
Pretty much.
Yeah, they was Goblin War right now with the
Well,
negative event.
Cassandra got Birds of Prey recently. But
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's good news.
Yeah,
and
with
so
Kelly
and
Thompson, which
Spirit
What
World.
was interesting? I never expected to be this, where it's like Cassie Kane, Black Canary, Big Barda, Zealot
Quinn.
from Wildcats. That's the one with the red suit, the white hair.
Yep.
Her
Yep.
name is Zealot. She's in Wildcats.
I don't read Wildstorm.
I
Ain't
don't
for
know who
everyone.
else is part of the group. Do you remember who's part of
Harley
the group?
Quinn.
Yeah,
Harley
Harley Quinn.
Quinn.
Harley
I think
Quinn
Harley-
I get because the Gazeta put Harley Quinn and everything, and at least this it fits better than when they forced it for the movie.
Because she's
Yep.
the comedic relief of that team and a team of badasses.
Yeah,
Yep.
and plus also Renee Montoya is not in the book like she is in the movie.
Oh,
And
that
I
is
kind of
true.
felt this though when I looked up how old the actress who plays Renee. They cast someone who was too old to play Renee. I was
She's
going-
She
fine.
could pull it off, but she was up there.
Yeah, but I was kind of expecting Renee to be probably in her early 30s, maybe. But
Yeah.
mid 50s?
I know she's in
And the
50s.
fact that Black Canary was played by a black. Now, nothing wrong with the skin color, but Black Canary being black,
Where are you going with this, Nick?
it just seems kind of odd for a character like Black Canary who's just been white over the years, just randomly to be black. Deadshot, that's something else altogether because they've only had 2 actors play him
I'll give you that. I'll give you
Fair
that.
enough.
because they only have him on Arrow, which the guy did a great job with him on Arrow.
You know they're playing Smallville. You forgot about Desert in Smallville.
Yeah, I kinda
Pretty
know.
sure it was the same actor.
No, I think it's a different one.
No, different
Um,
actor.
Yeah, and then you had Will Smith.
Yep.
Now there is a hashtag called release the Ayer cut going on, so maybe the director's cut was had some improvements, but I guess we'll never know.
The
I
director's cut
don't
they
really care about
released
the haircut.
only-
Come on, at this point, I just move on.
Yeah, the director's cut they released was not what people wanted. They
It
only
wasn't
put in
director's
like
cut.
10
It was
minutes.
just more
of it.
nonsense.
Tevia, let Nick talk. Let him
They
cook.
put in 10 minutes, and about 4 or 5 of those minutes is more Joker. Despite the fact Jared Leto came out and people thought, oh, he was only there for one day because he appeared for like 1-2 scenes. He had very little screen time. And Jared Leto came out and said, no, I was not there for one day. I was there for the entire shoot. I had a lot more scenes that were cut. This is according to Jared Leto. He said this himself. He did an article all about this, where his scenes were cut. Do not know the reason was cut. And according to David Ayer, he has stated that Warner Brothers released the wrong cut of the movie.
Now, I would not be surprised if they were just trying to copy the MCU trend, but I had heard a rumor. Now, take it with a grain of salt, but I had heard a rumor that 2016 Suicide Squad, they were just trying to make their version of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Kind of, yes. Yeah, and also the fact that the Brian Killer Croc, because David Ayer had no experience with CGI.
Yep.
Because the character was supposed to be King Shark. So they made it into Killer Croc, who a lot of the characterization in the movie is not the character from the comic. And the weird thing is, he is one of 2 characters in the movie who are Jerry Conway characters. People forget the fact Jerry Conway created Killer Croc. The other character was a character who appeared for who didn't appear in the commercials. It was Slingshot. You know, the guy who got killed.
Yep.
Oh, that guy?
Yeah, the character in the comic is a lot more interesting than this guy is. He's Adam, I think it's Adam Bleach, I think his name is. The guy who plays him. There is nothing to his character at all. It's like, oh, he's an expert climber. Okay. How about go with his comic debut where he tried to hang Firestorm in his debut?
Never mind.
Yeah, basically the way for his debut appearance, he's crawling up this, I think it's like a greenhouse that Firestorm is in, at least someplace where it's like a glass building. He's talking to, I think, Firehawk, and then you have him bringing down a noose and trying to hang Firestorm.
Interesting.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's a really cool way to make an impression, just try to murder the hero.
Movie Theater King, you said something?
I think he's still muted.
Movie Theater King.
What is that logo of his?
I think that's from Adventure Time, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. I personally have not seen Adventure Time, so
Movie Theater King, can you hear us?
It's TV from Adventure Time.
Okay.
Okay.
I
What's
personally have
really
not
supposed
seen
to be
Adventure
King
Time.
Shark?
I have sadly no interest in the series, so anybody who's a fan of Adventure Time, that's fine. I have no interest in it at all.
That's fine. Was
yeah.
it really supposed to be?
Speaking of-
Go ahead. Go ahead, Tevia. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Speaking of the article, there's the good news. One thing I've been highlighting besides what you just said, and I do a lot of this because I know I'm taking a lot of time, sorry, but I do want to talk about this quote.
I'll get the banner.
Yeah. We thought the issue of mathematical law as speed to show up, well, we will see more of these characters, or I thought man why. He said it go. Very much the former. It'll be at the end of issue 2 that I won't spoil, but I think that's going to make a lot of people see the whole thing in a different light. It's always been my understanding of ongoing comics that the best single issues people remember tend to be self-contained stories with their own voice and point of view. That's good. To give you an example, issue 4 is all told from the point of view of Roy's daughter, Eileen. Thank God! That's great. Yep. In issue 5, it told the point of view of his son, Jai. Yay! Yep. I'm hoping to do more of that sort of thing. It's a way of keeping all of those different threads moving, but also seeing them through a different set of eyes. So yeah, the extended cat is absolutely central. To the extent that while Roy will always be the guiding light, there will be a whole phase of this project that aren't Roy's. Okay, this gives me some hope. This gives me some hope that he's not screwed the family. Thank effing God. I was worried Shawsbury gonna mess the family up, but that's not happening. Thank you. I'm happy with that. That's good. So this book may not fail. This book may succeed. I hope.
It depends.
Still nervous.
It
Still
depends.
nervous.
It depends.
I'm so happy. Yep.
Hmm.
What do you think?
Again, I am willing to give everything a shot. My rule is up to 3 issues. 3 strikes, you're out. If I fall off or I'm burned out by issue 3, I'm not going to pick this up again. And I haven't felt that way in a long time with DC, not since the 5G setup.
Mm-hmm.
So this could go either way. The only way I could really see this going off the rails is if Cy Sputter goes overboard with the horror elements with the issues leading in October, which is very simple.
You only got 24 issues, so you have 24 issues to make this right. So hopefully you know what you're doing. They don't want more than individual real day, but I make that short. Okay, 24 issues and Warrior's favorite character. So that's good.
Allegedly. Nick, your response?
To the horror elements for Flash?
Yeah.
I don't think it exactly fits when it comes to Flash do horror stuff. He's more of a sci-fi based character, so it just when I first heard he doing horror elements, I thought it was kind of strange. But I'll give it a shot because basically I love Flash.
Yep.
Movie Theater King?
I'm just going to wait and see. Right now, I'm also checking out the new Blue Beetle comic.
I love
Because
Blue
after
Beetle.
the movie, what would you say, Tevye?
No, sorry. Okay. I basically agree with you. I like Blue Beetle, awesome, and I like the movie as well.
The
I
movie,
haven't seen the movie yet.
It hasn't really made back its money yet. The Blue Beetle.
No, it hasn't.
But I'm reading the Don DC's Blue Beetle, and yeah, hopefully they don't screw up his character more because he's going in a great direction. I just wonder if they kind of botched his popularity after the whole Blue Beetle movie, because like it could have continued going up, but I feel like it's going like it's just hit like a stopping point and then slowly going back down and up again. It could have gained momentum, but nah, I don't see it after
I think the
fan.
current Blue Beetle comic is set after the Graduation Day miniseries.
Yeah, I picked it last week left off.
It is. But while I have you guys, anyone watch the last couple of episodes of Harley Quinn? Because
I did.
I haven't watched Harley Quinn.
Movie
I
Theater
did.
King?
I watched all of it.
Movie
I
Theater
haven't
King?
caught up to it yet.
Okay, so from what I've seen so far, you could tell by halfway through they got the green lit for a 5th season. That's why they were doing all these wacky art styles. And I get it. It's a pretty simple premise. Harley decides she's going to be more of an anti-hero. And Ivy breaks away from the Legion. I just don't think Luthor should have been the main villain for this one. Even
that confused the hell out of me. Why bring him in the middle? I thought the man retired.
Now Luthor does have setup because Luthor did let Ivy in the Legion of Doom. He did try to piggyback off her ideas. Now, so the setup for Luthor being a villain is there, but Talia could have stole the show if the writers really wanted to. But I feel like they're saving it for season 5.
Because they brought them back from the dead into the largest pitch.
I get the reason why Harley Quinn's got a show because she's popular. Her popularity has never died down over the years.
She really hasn't.
No, she hasn't.
Yeah,
even in New 52, despite the
Let Nick talk. Go ahead.
I have been reading the Harley Quinn comic first by Stephen Phillips, who I think did a really good job of the book, and Tina Howard's done a pretty decent job. So I have no complaints with the current Harley Quinn book. May not be Jim Palmer and Connor, but I think it's still a good book.
Fair enough.
Yep. I never read the Harley Quinn, but I heard it's some bad. But
it's Stephanie Phillips, for some strange reason, Critical Thinking thought she was a terrible writer.
Thinking Critical?
No comment.
Yes.
No.
I disagree with a lot of stuff he says. I listen to his videos. I'm like, it seems true, but I think a lot of stuff we just pull stuff as Varan for some of his opinions.
To each their own. That's all I can say on that.
Yeah,
but
I do have a question for everybody. How this has been suggested out there. This could happen for season 2 of the One Piece live action series. What if Jamie Lee Curtis becomes part of the live action series for One Piece?
I
Sure,
can see it.
I'm up for that.
Who?
I can see it.
Who's that?
Jamie Lee Curtis, you do not know who she is?
Wait, it's a she?
Yes,
Yeah.
Jamie Lee
Yes.
Curtis, the star of
She-
Halloween.
Crickets.
You ever heard of Halloween by John Carpenter, or seen Freaky Friday, Trading
I have not
Places,
seen
Prom Night, the original one?
Not
He's
the
young.
remake.
He's young. I think movie theater king is Gen Z. He barely knows what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay,
Halloween.
Jamie Lee Curtis is one of
We gotta
these.
go to recent comment recently.
She is a second generation actress. Her mother, Janet Lee, was in the original Psycho.
Way
Her
far
father,
back.
yeah, way far back. After Hitchcock, you guys see these movies. Our father is Tony Curtis.
Yeah,
and-
never heard of them.
Yeah, they're older people, but she's actually one of those few because there was a period of time where second generation actors, a lot of them were not the good of actors. She's one of the very few who actually is successful at what she does. Of course, she was also in a movie called True Lies with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Which is getting a remake, I think.
I don't know, but that original movie is so
I'm
fun.
showing my age right now. You're not alone, Nick. I feel like I'm showing my age too.
Yeah, that movie is so fun. Absolutely. That's why I think it's R-rated movie. I kind of thought this though they made R-rated because of the somewhat of adult content in the movie. But if that movie was made nowadays, it would be PG-13.
Every bit.
Speaking of True Lies, we did a Netflix show recently. Not that movie, but not the same premise. Kind of. Sort
Did
of.
you know that the original True Lies movie is a remake of a French movie? Same
No.
premise. Yeah, it's a remake. A French movie. It's similar to what we do with we do movies like Grunge, The Ring, or Jamaica Before movie.
Yep.
It's the same type of premise, like same type of idea, but this was French, not Japanese.
Yep.
Now, Jamie Lee Curtis is actually she mentioned this. She's a friend of the actress who plays Chopper.
Really?
And it has been confirmed that he's going to be seen in season 2 of One Piece, the live action series.
That's
And
good.
I'm curious of what he's going to look like. Is it going to be CG? Is it going to be like a reindeer they're going to put in the show? Who knows?
Probably CGI if you're going to factor his transformations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they can't do practical in this one. Even though I want practical Chopper, I want practical for this. Yeah, they gotta do CGI in this one.
Yeah. I've
just
only watched
really-
the first 4 episodes of the One Piece live action series. It is really good.
It's great.
Yeah, where like in the past, live action adaptations of anime have not had a good reputation of basically having good adaptations. Case in point, the Netflix Death Note movie,
We don't talk about that.
or Dragon Ball Evolution, or the disappointment that was the Bleach live action movie.
Oh dear God.
Don't remind me. We already got Tiny last with follow.
The thing with the Bleach live action movie, it's made by Japan. I think it was made by Warner Bros. Japan. I think that one was.
Yeah.
Yep.
But to me, it wasn't a bad movie per se. It just was a disappointment.
We got
Yeah.
going to argument that Netflix series that live action that failed.
Yeah,
The
her-
less
Yeah.
live action Cowboy Bebop, the better.
yes, and I at least got appreciated though. Like all the interviews, is like I saw the trailer stuff that they mentioned that the creators are big One Piece fans. The fact that the biggest thing they were hyping up for the show was the Baratier. I was surprised they got like from the exterior. It looks really good. I got about 15 minutes into the 5th episode, but I haven't finished watching it. But I'm surprised. Like the one character I was kind of surprised the change they made to him was Buggy, where he's taller
Oh, yeah.
than Luffy.
Wow.
He's still clown. He's still this whole thing of like, what'd you say about my nose?
Yep.
But he's taller than Luffy.
Yep.
Yeah, in show there's no explanation. Like if you watch the anime, he's the same. Luffy's like a little bit taller than Luffy. Here he's like Luffy's like half a foot taller and shorter than he is.
Yep.
I think it's because of the actor
Mhm.
and the fight with him takes place in a tent instead of like outside.
I'm fine with that. It makes sense.
Yeah, and the fact we couldn't have the lion, who's part of Buggy Circus, part of the episode, and his chief of staff, where he gets punched by Zoro and that's it.
Yep.
He got a bit wasted. The biggest change I thought was surprising, I know it's a bit of a spoiler, Kaya kisses Usopp, which she never did in the show. It was implied these two had a thing for each other. I guess they must have, based on that impliedness, and made it where, like, because it was mentioned by, it came out that Oda did not want any romance between the crew members, but
Yep.
he didn't say anything about Usopp and Kaya.
Yep.
Which, that's ballsy.
Yep.
And Luffy's not much of an idiot like he is in the anime.
I'm also happy to report that the creator of the One Piece manga and also part of the show. He made sure the show was the part of show material.
Yeah, but not
God.
exactly
I'm
per
happy with
se, but at least they're faithful to it.
Yes, because the creator is involved.
Like big example of this. This was completely original to the show, but this actually was mentioned in the Brockworks arc, where
I don't know what that is.
It was Brockworks is basically an organization that which led to Alabasta. They're a criminal organization that's led by a guy named Crocodile. Let's see. Basically, there's this guy called Mr. Seb who tries to recruit Zoro, and this was mentioned back during in the series that someone named a previous Mr. Seb tried to recruit him, but he turned him down because he wanted to be the leader. In the show, they actually brought that scene in and mentioned he wanted to be number one, and he flipped the bird off to him. And Zoro is the actor's Japanese. I was talking about it. They were actually quite surprised he's Japanese. Because it might be white. Nope, he's Japanese. Luffy is played by a Mexican, which I don't have an issue with that because even someone who's Brazilian can look in because of skin tone, I can buy that. Nami is hot, just like he is in the manga. Usopp is black, just like because the writer said he's supposed to be from Africa, even though necessarily he's not look to be black, but he is black. So they got that part right about him. Even Yaseb, his father, is black too. Though Shanks is British. Don't know why Shanks is British. It's weird.
Has Ace appeared in the show yet? Or are they saving him for season 2?
No, not yet.
They're probably saving for season 2. He has not appeared yet. Ace did not show up in the show until in the anime, not until they went to Alabasta.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, they have the only character they teased so far for season 2 is just Chopper, and probably the character Mikura wants to play.
Speaking of season 1 of the show, we did get an elaboration. Apparently, that the Luffy's grandpa tried training him at the Marine, which I didn't know about this.
They tried doing the manga too.
What the anime? We've been so damn much into the anime.
Yes, that was true for the manga.
Yeah, I got confused about that. Like, wait, what?
It's like some of the stuff they bring in the show is just something they mentioned to happen in the series. Here they just expand upon it.
Got it.
Yep.
What would you guys feel about a live-action Naruto series if they could pull it off?
No, I don't trust anyone now. No, nobody messing up.
Well, here's the thing about that.
One at a time, gentlemen.
Lionsgate has the right to make a live-action Naruto.
Yeah, they've been doing it for years.
Yeah, they announced recently they still have the rights. They can still do in the live-action Naruto if they want to, but they haven't done anything yet with it. But in the case of Naruto, the only characters I can see be Japanese is Sasuke, Hinata, and Neji.
Yep.
Naruto, I wouldn't mind him played by a white guy.
Same.
But I guess like I have Japanese. Well, the lead doesn't have to be Japanese.
Mm.
Shikamaru?
I think yeah, Chikamaru probably by Japanese as well because his hairstyle is similar to what people in Japan wear, so I can buy that.
Rock
Alright.
Lee would probably be the hardest casting. Rock Lee and Ten would be some of the hardest casting.
1010, I could think she could probably be Asian, not necessarily Japanese, but probably Asian.
Gara from the Red Sand, the Shikaku.
Not sure about Gara.
Gara is a hard one, not gonna lie.
Now,
Gara's a
also speaking of character, another one to do that with the main villain, Orochimaru.
okay. You
Not him.
can get anyone to do Orochimaru.
Yeah. The biggest challenge would be who's going to play Jiraiya and Tsunade.
Jiraiya in live action.
Yeah, see that peeping Tom, peeping on girls?
Yep.
I think for the first movie, they should just do the Land of Waves.
No,
Yeah.
this got to be a series. You can't make it a movie.
But the first arc would be Land of Waves technically, but I would argue they go all the way to the Chunin exams. Have the Land of Waves be like a few episodes and then cut straight to the Chunin exams.
Yeah, but knowing Kishimoto, he probably want to be like in order.
He want to be
Yeah.
involved in this one. He would not.
I have
let
Seven Days Music friend Edgar has mentioned that Kishimoto is the only manga has ever been over here.
Huh.
Kira Toriyama, never been here. Taita Kubo, never been here. Just Kishimoto.
Kishimoto is the only modern mangaka that's ever entered the U.S. Huh.
Yes.
I
I've
thought
never
for
heard
sure.
anybody else who has.
Not Oda.
I haven't heard him Oda.
Not the off of my hero. Seriously?
No, he's creator of One Piece.
No. That won't be. I'm going to offer my hero academia. That's what I'm talking about.
Not that I've heard of. I have heard something. I think it was the writer of, I think it was Jujutsu Kaisen, I believe it is. There was a thing about a year or two ago where the writer of My Hero went with the writer of Jujutsu Kaisen to a movie, and I've heard a rumor that the writer of Jujutsu Kaisen is a woman.
That's cool. Good for her.
It's a good manga, but it's not one of those anime where you could eat while watching it because it's a bit gross at times.
It's super complex.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Speaking of Dragon, I've been watching that series. I've been watching that series there. You have to watch the movie this year. When it came out, I don't remember. I got off the movie. Like, wait, what? Wait, this time with a prequel. I felt so confused on what that movie. I just felt lost.
Oops.
Good
And
movie, but very confusing.
I found something on Bleeding Cool a few minutes ago, and apparently Connor, Superboy, and McGann are going to have a moment in an upcoming Action Comics issue.
Yeah, I did hear about that. I did read that article. I thought, wait, what? Wait, so they're canon Connor and Megan, Miss Martin into Kane. Okay.
It's probably better for you. Now, these are alleged spoilers, so take these with a grain of salt. And I know we're almost at that mark. Try to stay with me.
Yep.
Can y'all see the screen?
Yep.
Yes.
And apparently this is a thing. So Action Comics comes out this Tuesday at your local comic book shop, and we'll just go from there. Young Justice fans are probably happy.
Yep.
But I think it's about time we got to our final thoughts. Anything you guys want to promote, anything you guys want to check out, anything coming up on your channels, and we'll go one at a time. Nick, you first.
I have stuff coming on my YouTube channel definitely this week. I have I'm going to be going back to watching Kamen Rider Black tomorrow and a bunch of videos. There's been anime I was going to do today, but I didn't get time to do it. So I'll be doing those anime over the next 2 days, trying to catch up with it. It's only about 3 right now, but tomorrow will be 4. One Piece, the final episode of season 2 for Eden Zero, Case Closed, and Michiku Tensei. That'll probably come next couple of days, and of course, a lot of Kamen Rider Black.
Okay, sounds like very, very good content. A lot to look forward to.
And some comic corners too.
Movie Theater King, anything you want to say?
Well, I'll be working on the metal pet project that I'm working on. I'm almost just starting to get ready to write the first chapter of the story. I'm almost done with the thing, my first step, thank goodness. But yeah, I'll also be wanting to collab with Jay Heat over the diversity in comics and manga, and that's about all.
Don't worry, movie theater king. We'll set something up. And Tevia, anything you want to say? Anything at all?
Yeah. I made the video today on the CBO article on Dan George Spider-Man, with that video not doing much shocking on what guys said. But I just better than day one, which I'm not sure about that. But honestly, Monday I'm still playing Baldur's Gate 3. I'm still watching that game. But that game is so damn long. But that game is a good game. I'll be hoping playing the Cyberpunk expansion if I we done with Cyberpunk, if I rent it, maybe same with that. Tuesday, I'll be reviewing the new Flash book that comes out 2027. Yeah, I wrote that came out this week. Reacting comics this week. Back to Marvel. The one book I'll be reviewing for Marvel is Open Major Issue 4, which will be the finale of the Open Bean book finally that ending that series in that new Open Universe. Which we did get new to Open Spider-Man returning. But other than that, I think that's all I have to survive for this week. It's from my channel.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
As for me, I'm currently running a little campaign to where if y'all can get me to at least 180 subscribers by Halloween, that's roughly a month and 6 days from now. So if you can get me to at least 180 subscribers, I will literally live stream and react to Gotham Knights, the TV show, from beginning to end. If y'all can get me to at least 180 subscribers. It was originally going to be 200, but I decided that was too much of a high ball. So I've lowered it to 175, 180.
Mm-hmm. I'm currently at 255 subscribers.
Yep.
Nice.
I am 151.
Nice.
I went down.
And I'm currently at I'm at 168 right now, so
you're getting there.
I'm getting there. But again, if y'all want me to live stream and react to Gotham Knights, like, comment, subscribe, and get me to 180. So
yeah, I'm 20.
With that being said, like, comment, subscribe, and flame off.